Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with Matt Murray.
Hello.
And Sean Bell.
Hello.
Sadly, no James Farley this week. He's either ill or Matt and James have had a massive fallout.
Oh, yeah.
Or James is scared.
You think he's scared? Scared of what?
Well, why else wouldn't he be? Either he's ill or the alternative you said is that we had a massive falling out.
Right.
Surely.
But what's he scared of?
Well, no, but if he wasn't scared, he'll be here, surely.
Of what?
We don't need to answer that.
Go on. No, we do need to answer.
Well, no,
what is James scared
your
of?
options are he's ill or we've had a falling out.
Or you've had a massive falling out. He could just really dislike you. It doesn't mean he's scared of you,
We all
Matt.
know that's not the case.
Because that's what you're thinking. You're thinking he's scared of you, don't you?
I'm thinking something's happening.
I don't think he's scared of you, Matt. I'll be honest with you. I've known James for a long time.
This is like when people ask me how I feel about spiders. I'm like, I hate them. No, I don't hate them. I'm terrified of them. I just don't want to say that.
Exactly. But there's no way James is scared of Matt. No, I just I will be the first to dig James out. There's no way he's scared of Matt.
Maybe he's just intimidated by me. I don't know.
Again, I would be very surprised if that was the case, Matt.
I mean, he's probably just ill.
Yeah, I think it's just ill.
It could be the alternative.
This week, we would like to thank our Patreon producers, Alan M. Nash, Aaron Patrick, Anthony Oakinson, Toby Henry, and Adam Capone. They went full Nels. You can do too by going to www.patreon.com/TCGS. Of course, there are other tiers. Go onto our Patreon website and read what those tiers are. I can't be bothered to read them out. Should we get straight into feedback from last week's show, Matt?
Can we have a quick reminder that Res is happening in 2 months' time?
It really is, isn't it? Yeah, I can't. I mean, Res is a more intimate one. If you want to get close to us, that's the way to do it.
Well, not too close.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that sounds like there might be a murderer out there sharpening his knife or something. Thinking,
Well, if I'm in Nando's, maybe. Anyway. Yeah, so Res, it's Saturday 28th of March. You just need standard day tickets to come and see us. Obviously, I think we're on like 3 or 3:30. And we'll probably have a meet on the same day, probably in the same place we've always been. What's the name of that pub again?
Is it the Minories?
The Minories, yeah. Probably almost there. Minories, whatever. Anyway, that's Saturday 28th of March, so about 8 weeks away, but it will come creeping up on us. So just thought I'd put a little reminder out for it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you haven't got your ticket, you want to get them soon because they do tend to sell out the
especially on the day we do a live show. I mean, that's just... Could be a coincidence.
You know it.
Also, just floating this a few days before my birthday.
Hey, so
okay,
birthday presents, bring them along.
Big present, please, guys.
That'd be good.
Are you talking to us or listeners?
Anyone.
Okay.
You ain't getting fuck all from us. It's going to be a good one this year. I mean, I like those ones. They're very... I mean, we're not going to be on the show floor screaming at the top of our voice like we were for the EGX one.
I mean, there is always a chance that they may have moved things around. It seems unlikely given the area, but the
venue, is very similar. But yeah, no, those tickets usually sell fast. So if you are thinking of coming, do get your tickets in quick because it's going to be a lot of fun.
I think we are actually giving ourselves a couple of days this time, aren't we? Because the last couple of years we've just had literally turned up in the morning, run around, played a bunch of stuff, and then did the show, and then went home, and it is fucking exhausting. So.
Well, Matt suddenly decided that we were going to do an earlier show, right? That's you changed it now, haven't you?
Okay.
Yeah, well, we used to be the headline act.
We did.
But then Matt was like, nah, let's do it earlier.
It's just better. It's better EGX doing the earlier one, rather than everyone's like, well, time for home now. I'm like, oh, do you want to come and hear the pod? So yeah, it's a bit earlier. It's a bit better. Okay. But Sean's right. Last year was just mad doing everything in one day. Me going home on the same evening, it was way too much. So I'm there for 7 nights, and should we
I'm currently setting up.
I'm already there.
Let's get on to feedback.
Yes. This is relevant to the Patreon stuff. Christopher E. Percival. Afternoon, boys and girls. I'm a relatively new listener to the podcast, having heard it being mentioned in passing on an episode of Sound of Play. Never heard of it. For those of us who haven't been around that long, where does the whole Full Nels thing come from? Love the show so far.
Why did you say Full Nels?
I don't know, because Nelson, so I always say...
It's plural of Nell.
Right. I'll run you through. We've mentioned this on the podcast before, but obviously if you're a new listener, you would have heard. Right. When we were coming up with the Patreon, I wasn't on the show. I was during, it was paternity leave. And
I think we call it like the golden era. But yeah.
we were talking about... Sorry, who's we? Just
The
you
listeners?
three. Definitely not the listeners. I've not heard them say that once.
But they don't want to. They don't want to embarrass you, but they say it.
Well, they're probably scared of me, Matt, aren't they?
Well.
When they was floating what the tiers were going to be called. So the top tier is currently called, what is it? Live in It.
Yeah, probably. All the tiers are references to the show in some way.
And I just suggested, when we were talking about ideas for names for tiers, I said, why don't we just go for like references to the show, but the top tier is called the Major Nelson for no reason. It'd just be funny if you're just going, okay, yeah, in the beginning, yeah, I like that one. For Be Natural, yeah, that's quite good. The Major Nelson, why? Like, I just thought it was a bit weird and funny. And then Matt was like, no, we can't do that. And I was like, why? And he went, well, because we can't. And I was like, well, give me a good reason. Because we can't, David.
I think it's like a bit weird taking on, someone else's name. Might end in tears.
No. We wouldn't have got sued.
We'll get a cease and desist from Microsoft.
No, Sean did. I said, yeah, but imagine, Matt, we could call it the Nels, going full Nels. You've gone full Nels. This is full Nels. And then that got stuck in my head. And for those of you that know me in real life, if something gets stuck in my head, that is it then for
that's it. Everyone else has to deal with it as well.
Yeah, I know, that's it. We were playing Halo Reach last week, and one of the characters in it took his helmet off, and he looked a little bit like Tom Selleck, right? And so
did he have a moustache?
Yeah, he just had a moustache.
And
we were calling him Tom Selleck, which then evolved into Tommy Sells, right? And then, honestly, I played Rocket League with my mate Jay last night, and we must have said Tommy Sells to each other about 56 times each. Do you know what I mean? We're just playing and going, Tommy Sells. Do you remember the Kevin's apartment thing, Matt?
Yes.
Kevin's apartment was being just randomly shouted at every... Right, basically, I'm annoying. So the month after we started the Patreon thing, I was just shouting full Nels over and over again in the chat. And I said, Matt, I'm going to make it stick. I will make it stick. And you were like, no, it's the Live in It. I said, no, I'm going to fucking force this down people's throats until they're chanting it. And what happened at EGX? You all chanted it. All right. I shouted at you that you should chant it, but that still counts. It still counts. So that's the story behind Full Nels.
I might as well tell you now, because I don't think anything is going to change, but in November, I contacted Major Nelson.
What?
Yeah, I thought it would be amazing if, basically I asked him, could he do like a sound clip or video saying you've gone full Nels or this something, right? And I was going to like rebrand that tier without telling anyone, and suddenly people like, hang on, what the hell is this? And anyone who went full Nels would get a little video of Major Nelson saying you've gone full Nels, but he never got back to me. It's a lovely email as well, but yeah, and I was going to have it as a total surprise, but it feels like...
Hold on, can you find that email? Where did you email from?
My own account, because I didn't want you guys to find, because I wanted it to be a surprise.
Oh, I would love for you to read that full email out. I just want to hear, because Matt's writing style's hilarious. He tries to do... his email style, he gets personal. Look, I'm not having a go at you. I'm not saying it's wrong. I just find it funny that you're half professional and half personal. Yeah, but I just find that weird because in my business, if I work when I'm working at stuff and I'm emailing someone, I sound like a robot. Please find attached the latest. It's just like real fucking awful stuff. Like I can't get personal with stuff. It just weirds me out. So when I read someone else doing it, I'm kind of like, what? What's going on here?
Emails at work, is everything like to this and regards and
yeah.
Okay.
Mine's always regards, David, and please find attached the latest revised. It's just like awful.
My wife was absolutely horrified when she finds out that I often sign off emails with cheers.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
That's acceptable. That's
thanks,
acceptable. Cheers, Tar.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. No, that's
Depends on the
acceptable.
recipient, like, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You can't find that email, Matt?
Choosing not to.
No, I have got it. I'm trying to.
He's reading through it
got
now.
I'm
Just
like,
to make sure.
how embarrassing is this?
A bit more embarrassing, the better.
I mean, I'll just read it and hope for the best.
Okay.
Hello, Larry. Right, this is actually on the 2nd of December.
Why wouldn't you open it with "Hello, Major"? Like that?
Because his name's Larry.
I know, but it's funnier, isn't it?
Right.
Mr. Herb.
Hello, Larry. Happy holiday. I'm actually quite worried because I don't know how stupid I've gone. But anyway,
God.
happy holidays. First of all, I hope you don't mind me emailing you. I got your email address from your website. Also, I know you're a super busy man, so I appreciate you taking the time to read this email. I'll cut to the chase. I'm the
He's already stopped reading.
Yeah,
cut to the
I know,
chase after all this small talk. Just cut to the. If you cut to the chase, do it straight up. Go on.
I'm a co-host of a UK gaming podcast called The Computer Game Show. We also do stuff on Twitch and YouTube, etc. We have a Patreon and top tiers called Living It, a reference to the show. But someone suggested we rename our tiers after prominent people in the games industry. Naturally, your name came up. And now,
right, that's a lie then. So
I
you've
know, but
lied
I
to
He
didn't
doesn't
say
need to know,
one
though.
guy who
You
wasn't on
can't
the
lie
show
to the Major.
thought
Right,
it'd
what
be
if,
hilarious. Anyway, I'm just trying
hold
to
on,
soften
what
the blow.
if the Major is a listener and he's like, that's not how it happened, so I'm not going to reply to this?
I mean, possible. Naturally, your name came up, and now people affectionately refer to our top patron tiers, full Nels. So here's my request. Here's my request. Could you record 2 very short video messages on your phone?
Wait. Before you carry on, you didn't explain that at all. Your name come up, so now everyone calls our top tier full Nels. Like, that doesn't explain it.
Well, I know. The first bit was after someone suggested we rename our tiers after prominent people in the games industry.
Right, but full Nels isn't his name or anyone in the gaming industry. It's... You haven't
He's in
mentioned
the
that we
game
call
industry
it
as
Major
Major
Nelson.
Nelson. It doesn't matter anyway. He hasn't responded. Here's my request. Could you record 2 very short video audio messages on your phone for our Patreon supporters? They only have to be 2 to 3 seconds long. Just record on your phone. Well, we don't care. Ideally, we'd love 2 messages. I can see why I didn't respond now. I can totally see, but it's worth. It's always, you've got to be in it to win it, etc.
Yeah,
This is quite bad, actually. Okay, ideally, we'd love 2 messages. What? Oh.
Read it, Matt. Just
It's
read
not
it.
bad, it's fine.
One review looking at the camera saying, "Go for Nels
hang on.
today."
Oh my God, Matt.
Another saying, "Thank you for going for Nels." Okay. Oh God. Obviously, this is in brackets. Obviously, you can do more if you're in the mood. But we're pushing our luck as it is. Ha ha.
What was that last bit?
But we're pushing our luck as it is. Ha ha. Close bracket.
I love it if he replied and did it, and then we were like, so we're wondering if you could do like birthday messages for all of our.
Yeah. Are you on Cameo? Because we'll pay $50 for that. Next line. I know you don't have to do this, and this request may seem ridiculous.
Oh, do you? Do you
But
know
I know
that?
our audience and our patron
Okay,
supporters
good.
and us for on the show would appreciate it more than you know. I hope you and your family have a great Christmas and you take a well-deserved break after this crazy year at Xbox. So excited for Project Scarlet and everything the team has in store for 2020 and beyond. Thanks again, Matt.
Oh God.
Well,
Yeah.
that's right. Anyway, yeah, the idea is it'll be like a secret, and then like I'll just post in the group, or when people went full Nels, I get a little video because I
But
thought it'd be
it's
funny.
like saying, "Can you just promote our Patreon for us?" Like that's
It's also
what you
promoting
just...
him anyway. Well, it doesn't matter.
What? It's also promoting him.
Yeah,
How is it promoting him?
because he gets his little face out of it, doesn't it?
I think his face is out there, Matt. I don't know. I don't know about that. I think his face
Don't if
is
he
out
needs
there.
us to give him a boost.
Anyway, he hasn't responded yet. I was thinking,
Yet.
do I chase him up? I don't think I'm going to bother chasing him up.
Oh, please do. Please send him an email now that just says, "Hi, hi, Major. I'm just. Can you just? I don't know if you've seen this, but have you had a response on this?"
Yeah, further, I might go like full serious like you, Dave. Like further to the previous email.
Go robot. Go
Yeah.
David Robot. Yeah, do that.
Anyway, no response, so that secret's blown, but he probably wasn't going to respond anyway, was he? Definitely after
No,
that
it wasn't.
email.
Definitely not. Okay. Right.
I mean,
okay,
probably.
go on.
I mean, on a serious note, if you go through like whoever does the marketing for Microsoft and stuff, right? That's probably a better way to do it. But
Yeah, I didn't want to really engage with any other people. And his email address is hard to find. I found it on one of his social things on his website, so that might not even be his current one.
Found it by going through his bins and found some letters and stuff.
I still want to. That's why you wanted to go. It's an EXO 2019 or whatever it is. Just Larry, you haven't responded to my email.
Yeah, I'll just chuck a phone in his face like, say full Nels.
Be like one of those Q&A bits, and you'll go up. It's like, it's more of a comment than a question. You haven't replied to my email.
Yeah, I know you don't have to do this, but I still reckon we should. Why do I keep forgetting his name? Phil Spencer.
Yeah.
I still think we should send him a TCGS T-shirt. I don't know why. I've got a feeling that it will crop up somewhere.
In his bin. He's not going to wear that anywhere, is he?
Yeah,
he's not going to wear it on stage anywhere. So is what I'm saying.
Oh dear. All right. Okay.
Anyway, Christopher, that's the story of Full Nels. I hope
that's one bit of feedback out of the way.
What did we say? It's gonna be a
short one. Gonna be a short one.
Oliver Birch. Hello, chaps. Just to stick up for Matt here on the backlog chat, I cannot express how accurately that also represents my approach. It's spot on. And so now I'm wondering if I'm also a mental, or if this is a more normal thing than the rest of you believe. I.e. last year I got through about 70% of the games on your Gotti show. The rest are still, however, on the backlog, which just means I would like to play them at some point in my life. However, we are now in 2020, so any new game that gets added to the backlog automatically sits higher than a game from the previous year. In short, my backlog is just a list of games I want to play, sorted by release year, with the most recent at the top. No order to games released in the same year, that's just preference. If that makes absolutely no sense, then I accept it's absolutely balmy. All the best, Ollie.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Like, there was something just weird about the way Matt was talking about it last week. And
it was a week before, I think.
No, I think it was last week. I think you brought it up last week. Because you were talking about the list, weren't you?
No, because, it doesn't. I mean, because last week we had feedback on it. So it was brought up originally. Fucking hell.
Look, anyway, saga. That email started off, I was like, no, actually, what you're saying it makes sense. But then you went off on one about lists by year and stuff. So, I'm not quite down with that. All I do is that if there's a game that I want to play, say like Control, I sort of just remember I want to play it. And, if that come up on Game Pass or say, or I saw it cheap in a shop, I go, oh yeah, I wanted to play that, and I play it. That's it. Matt was
if it's like more than 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 games? You just remember them all.
Well, then I remember those 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 games, Matt, and then I
just like
play
a list.
them.
I like lists.
Surely you just got to prioritise just based on merit. Like, there's always obviously, you manage your backlog in whatever way keeps you sane, right? Because
which means removing it every 31st December.
Clear it out every 12 months. But to me, there's always going to be too many games coming out that I can actually play. Therefore, so if I used Oliver's system, I would never play anything from the previous year because I just wouldn't have time. Do you know what I mean? So just saying it just, they don't get erased, they just get sort of deprioritized versus things that came out this year. Well, I already don't have time to play everything that comes out this year. So
yeah, that's true.
So that would just effectively erase them.
What was confusing me about Matt last year is here's what I imagined, Matt, that you had a physical list of all the games you wanted to play this year. And then when it ticks over to the next year, you delete that list, but then you still play them you still might play them anyway. So what's the point in having a list?
Well, because I'm not I've got to play it. Like right now, there is no list, and I feel great. But then there's a game that's come out.
So at the end of last year, there was a list. Did you actually have a physical list written down somewhere, like a Google Doc?
Yeah, I've got
that's fucking weird.
That's
fucking weird.
Well, I've got fuckloads of to do. I've got loads of things on it. I've got multiple to do lists.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see the merit in having an
you can't,
actual
Sean,
list.
You're just trying to be nice.
No, I can
that.
because
I know that noise.
Do both of you not have to-do lists? I have fuckloads. I mean, I've lost count.
No, because it becomes too much.
List you got?
I'm a weird gentleman. Let's think. I mean, I've got. Well, I've got categories and all sorts, but
let me hear some of those categories.
Well, I've also got a massive TCGS folder of TCGS to do, things I'm not going to mention on the show, but you guys probably know.
Is that the stuff that you've shared with us?
Yeah, I think it probably is. Yeah.
Well, it's probably got more secret projects you don't know about.
Yeah, get rid of a few of them.
Stuff I want to do in YouTube 2020, games to play. That's so I've actually got. Okay, I've done that one. Then like things I'm going to upgrade in my office, weekly schedule, patron tiers, this, that, and the other. I got like 2020 goals. I had like 2019 goals. Well, I have both 2020 goals.
Have you got 2020 goals? What, like personal goals?
No, like TCGS stuff. So 2020 goals and 2020 plans. They're both TCGS lists.
I mean, we know nothing about this, do we, Sean?
Well, it's the same sort of stuff I've had previously, but anyway. And then in like I've got like a family section for like days out, things, places I want to go. If I hear something good, I'm like, oh yeah, that's on the list. I'll write it down and go there someday. Work stuff to do, work plans, other things like.
See, that just sounds right. You know what this sounds like to me is that if I was to do this by the like in 2 years' time, I look at those lists, it just make me sad because none of those things would be like ticked off. I'd have all these to-do lists, and there'd be like one thing just with a line through it.
It's very, very satisfying just having lists and ticking things off. That's why they're so good.
I think I'd never tick anything off.
I think the problem for me is that it would make. I mean, certainly, like professionally, I could probably do with adopting some of this because I'm incredibly disorganized and forgetful.
Oh, at work, I've got to-do lists. Yeah, that's a good way of doing it.
When it comes to like show stuff and playing games, it would start to make it feel like a bit of like too much of an obligation to me, I guess.
Well, that's what James said in the background during the discussion last week. He went, "It sounds like a job."
Well, it kind of is a job. There's lots of things to do every week.
It's not a job, Matt. This is the crazy thing.
When we started, like it's negative, I'm enjoying it. But obviously there are things to do.
No, that's fine. And you know, we can't be too critical because at the end of the day, Dave, we have to acknowledge that Matt is like the most organised of us, and the way he keeps things ticking over is crucial. And we do. Well, yeah, we benefit from that financially. So,
well, okay, I give him that. But at the same time, I would drop the games list.
Yeah,
I just don't think you need that, mate. Just if there's a game that you want to play it. If you don't worry about it.
Yeah, but lots of games come out. I'm like, okay, well, that sounds good. I'll get to that.
So do I.
Anyway, I like lists. It helps me feel organised. It's good. It's satisfying when things get ticked off. I'm not the first man in the world to have a to-do list. I'm fairly sure.
You do what you got to do. Yeah. No. But you might be the first one to tear up that to-do list and then carry on doing things on that list. That's all I'm going to say on the man now. Okay, right, we can move on.
Okay, Chris Cook at XIX Blue Wolf XIX on Twitter. I see for 2020 Matt Murray has slipped back into a character on Computer Game Pod. What the fuck does that mean?
Say, what's this about?
What does that mean? Is it? Did they go into any more?
No, that's it.
Okay.
I mean, what was
this
being
when you were attacking? When you were attacking James last week, like you went for James like 2 or 3 times last week. I think that might be it. You've got to remember, James is quite like our listeners love that man. So it's when you just give him a little dig or whatever, they don't like it.
I know. I picked on poor James. Like he's old enough to deal with it himself. I just wanted to get the news on. He's not here. That's not.
You did have a point last week. I mean, you were literally telling him to get on with it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And I know, James. I know you're listening and you're writing a comment down about this. He'll listen to this because he'll want to write little notes down about it, won't he? Yeah. Go
on, Johnny Ball. I love nerds. Somebody writing a computer game show to say, how have you never seen a giraffe to somebody that lives in England? As if you see giraffes every day just rocking about in Nottingham Forest. He means Sherwood Forest, and I don't live there. But I do get what he means. It's not. They're not on every street corner.
I mean, yeah, but zoos exist.
Yeah. They do.
They do, but I'm hardly in zoos every weekend. I mean, urban zoos, yeah.
Yeah, but Matt, if I said to you there was an animal that just like roamed around the earth with a massive neck,
I know what giraffes are.
See it. I know you know what giraffes are, but when you want to go and see it, wouldn't you be like, what? It's fucking massive.
I'd love to see one, but I just haven't up to now. I mean, if I have, I don't remember.
Put it on a to-do list, Matt. Put it on your to-do list, Len.
Well, I could put it on a days out thing. I've got a lot of things in the family days out list, so the zoo.
I'd love it if we could do a team day out at the zoo.
It would just film it all. Yeah. That would be good.
I mean, what would you do? Like, animals and that.
Yeah. Oh my! Do you not care about? I do like seeing animals.
I do, but I'm not wanking over it. It's like it's fine. But
no one's asking you to do that. That's not.
Oh, okay.
That's not why people go to zoos, Matt.
Oh, isn't it? Okay.
Well, actually, I'm pretty sure there are some people that go to zoos for that, but
probably.
they're naughty people.
Perverts.
Right, go on.
Okay, we're getting in
pervert.
with Wrecked Reese. The desk conversation got me wondering about what you guys do for a living. Been wondering since mid-res ended, and I've only been able to work out that James is a lecturer and you all work at desks. Also, Sean goes to farms sometimes, ? Please humour me and let me know.
Sean, you can't talk about it, can you?
I can't. It's not that it's particularly exciting. It's just, my employer is just like, never identify yourself as an employee on the internet. So just for PR reasons, basically.
Matt, you can sort of like.
Yeah, I work for a marketing
go-
agency in Leeds. That's it, really.
Now, whenever I tell people what I do for a living, they don't believe me. I remember when I told Sam, and he just told me to fuck off 4 times until you had to take him aside and say no. So I'm just going to say it, and we'll move on. Right? I'm an architect. Next.
That's it for feedback. It's at Computer Game Pod on Twitter, or you can email podcast@thecomputergameshow.com.
Always gets a weird reaction. Everyone's like, he can't. He can't.
I mean, that is just pure classism, isn't it? That's just people being like, oh, but he's got like an accent. I thought he was just like maybe a plumber or something. I don't know.
He's a builder. Right, okay, cool. Next.
James.
Oh, we going on to news.
Yeah.
That's it. Right, okay. So James isn't here, so our backup newsman is... And I've got a feeling that James is sitting there, listening to this, thinking, I hope he really does a good job. You know what I mean?
See about that.
Okay.
Very quickly scanned the news that James has prepared for us. First item is that Activision Blizzard have signed a deal with Google to stream all their esports stuff. So like Overwatch League and Hearthstone, and apparently there's a World of Warcraft esports scene. Don't ask me how that works. But yeah, that's all going to be streamed on YouTube going forward. Which is sort of interesting because we've seen... So obviously this is pulling everything away from Twitch, right? Pretty sure Activision Blizzard stuff has enjoyed a pretty good relationship with Twitch in the past. Like anyone who's got Twitch Prime, will, in the Twitch Prime rewards, there's all like Call of Duty stuff, Hearthstone stuff, I think Overwatch stuff in the past as well. So there's obviously been quite a cozy relationship there. And it's been pointed out that like what we've seen with Mixer, they've in order to try and get a foothold, they've been paying a lot of money to get like prominent streamers over. Whereas this is a bit of a different attitude towards it because they're taking, they're buying events rather than specific streamers. And it's been pointed out that this is interesting because a prominent streamer will get, have like, so like a number of fans or whatever, and that's like a consistent audience. Whereas like your big tournaments actually bring in, even though it's just like a singular event, like it actually brings in more numbers. So it's interesting, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's huge. I mean, like out of all like sort of the big publishers and developers, Activision Blizzard is it's absolutely massive. So
it's a big one,
yeah, it's a big one, and like we're just seeing this a lot with this is just more exclusivity. We've had like streamers go to places. We have like exclusive things on Netflix. We have like exclusive songs on Apple Music, and it's happening everywhere now. And now there's whole like
it is strange.
There's
how
whole like
stuff...
parts of like gaming where now it's YouTube only. I'm sure 99% of people aren't going to be bothered. In fact, most people probably won't be because they watch YouTube anyway for their gaming stuff. Yeah. It's so I don't think it's really going to be an issue, but it is very interesting that the exclusivity deals really are hotting up when it's not just streamers, it's actual organisations. And
well, this is what's interesting. That it's all this stuff felt like it was birthed from a break from traditional media. Twitch felt kind of punk. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like it had that feeling of, well, we don't like traditional media, let's do our own thing. And it built up out of nowhere. Yeah, and it's the same with esports scene. No one wanted to put them on, so they did their own thing and they created their own style, and it proved to be really, really popular. But then it slowly seems to be folding back into sort of the traditional media structure, with you can only watch this thing here, and all that sort of stuff. So it'd be interesting to see how close it gets to that. Do you know what I mean?
And is it going to get to the point where, because, as a consumer, it makes no difference to me. That Twitch and YouTube are both free services. It's not a problem. But yeah, when are we going to see a jump to a new service that you have to pay for?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not outside the realms of possibility. Maybe it'd be a bad thing overall, but for these guys to go to show some things on YouTube Premium, so it'll be like pay-per-view boxing. You might have Sky Sports where you got to pay the 15 quid.
Yeah.
We all have YouTube for free, but obviously there is a premium version of YouTube with no ads and this and that.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say.
What if they suddenly start putting competitions behind that in order to drive up revenue? It's possible.
Yeah,
I can't see it because I think it would hurt too much, but...
They started signing up like sort of big YouTubers to... do shows for this YouTube Premium stuff, and it kind of feels like it's going back to that. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, I don't know. Maybe you'll get more professional, more interesting ideas done if there's more money coming in. It could be a big thing.
I mean, in terms of this one, I can't. This isn't going to change the professionalism of Activision Blizzard. I'm very sure that's locked down, but it is interesting. It's like, the whole like TV, like we had everyone talk about cable cutting a few years ago. I'm sick of playing, or think like cable or Sky or Virgin. So I'll just cut that and I'll get other services. But now there's other services. If you want to get everything, probably cost more than Sky and Virgin. If you want, say Netflix and Prime Video and Apple TV Plus and say, or in the TV land at least, there's so many more things to buy now. And it might be the case where, okay, we had it all, and now we're going to start paying for it all on several platforms to watch what we want to watch.
Cool.
The Xbox Series X's rear ports are leaking.
Shit! See, they should see a doctor.
Shit's sorted.
Brad Sams, who's a well-known leaker who apparently has, reputable sources within Microsoft, has posted a couple of photographs of the Xbox Series X front and back, lying on a very weird beige carpet that reminds me of my student days.
That looks like one of the things you put in the hallway to if you want to get rid of some model featuring.
That was winding me up though. The amount of people commenting on that, I've mentioned this before, isn't it? It's 101 when it comes to commenting on someone's photo that they tweet or post up on a forum or whatever. It's ignore the point and just pick out something in the background.
Look
to
at me,
comment
I've noticed a detail elsewhere in the picture.
Yeah, exactly.
But even if it's not a picture, it's like if it's a screenshot, it's like, why have you only got 2% battery?
Oh god, it's that shit.
We get it.
But the thing is, I do that as well. The moment I see a photo, I'm like looking around going, oh, what can I comment on this? And then I find myself doing it. I'm like, for fuck's sake, what's the matter with me?
It's fairly unremarkable, I think. I mean, it's got an HDMI port, it's got power, Ethernet, two SD sockets and an SP diff, but there's a mysterious extra socket that no one really knows what it's for.
We've seen that on consoles loads, haven't we?
It's just a diagnostic thing, isn't it? It's like, it's nothing. People first thought, wow, this could be anything, but it's probably just like diagnostic to plug into dev kits and all sorts of things.
Yeah, so it might not even be there on the finished
possibly.
thing, but...
I don't know anything about that, but I'm sure. Didn't the GameCube have some really weird port on the back of it that was never used?
There's the one. So there's one underneath where the broadband adapter went, right? And is that also what the Game Boy Player, whatever it was called?
I think so. Yeah, because that's that underneath, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think there's been a few of these things where I'd love to know. Go back and look at some old ones and just think, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's always, I like those custom ones. They always look the Kinect one is just a little right angle thing. You just think, fucking, what the fuck? Weird. But yeah, has it got USB-C?
No, and that's the only thing I'm like, I hope this sort of isn't final, because USB-C is obviously a future, everything's going to be USB. I mean, loads of things are USB-C now. Yep. The next iPhone will be USB-C. There's so many things out there. But
for this
not to have one.
They're binning Lightning.
It'll come in the next one or two revisions, so for sure, yeah. And also, I think there's an EU directive or something that said they might have to, because there's something about it not being fair.
That's not going to mean anything to us, is it? We can do whatever the fuck we want, mate.
God, am I right?
Maximum freedom, mate. Can't wait.
But for this console, which isn't out yet, and I think it will last 5 years or more, whatever. Mm-hmm. For it not to have an USB-C future-proof is a bit weird.
Yeah,
I sort of thought it would, but I mean, obviously it's not a deal breaker, but it's feeling a bit weird. So I'm sort of hoping this isn't a final prototype, and there will be, because I know that one that was
it can't be a final
it was
prototype.
faked, like 2 or 3 leaks ago. It was like, oh wow, it's like 2 USB-C things on the back. That's pretty cool. And that means I can, charge my phone, charge other things, and obviously we can here with the USB C, hopefully. No, USB 3. Sorry, hopefully.
Yeah,
it's not a deal breaker, and I'm glad I'm still using the standard sort of 8. What do you call like sort of the figure 8 power lead? Which means yeah.
Kettle lead. That's what
lead,
we
mate.
know them as.
No, kettle lead's the
kettle
3-pin
lead's
chunky
one.
one. This is a figure 8 one.
Oh, I thought that was the I thought.
No, because the
figure
kettle
8
lead's the
was
massive one that
kettle lead.
PlayStation uses, and the other one, that figure 8 one's one that Xbox One X uses.
Oh, right, okay. All right,
Anyway,
fair
so I'm
enough.
glad it uses that. There's I would have liked more things on the back, but hey, it does the job.
It's also got a Kensington lock, although obviously it doesn't appear to have
Yeah, I
worked
love that.
on this occasion.
I'm going to lock that down.
All right, okay, cool.
Apparently, we're getting a new Knights of the Old Republic game.
I've seen people, talk about this. So, is it BioWare?
They've not said. It's apparently. Hang on, where are we? So, according to a new report from
They've not
Cinelix,
said, or you just haven't read the thing.
I haven't read
don't get me wrong, I'm not having a pop at you.
it. Doing a
Oh
James.
God, you're just like James.
Apparently, quote, 2 individual sources familiar with Disney's plans have confirmed there's going to be a Knights of the Old Republic game, but there's some disagreement on whether it will be a simple reboot or, quote, a sequel of sorts. But apparently it will integrate elements from the first 2 games in order to bring certain things into the current Star Wars canon. So, I mean, this is sort of interesting if you're a Star Wars nerd, because isn't one of the extra books around the Rise of Skywalker makes Revan, Darth Revan canon again. Revan being like the big bad from the first Knights of the Old Republic, so Revan gets a mention. Because obviously when the new film started, so technically the Knights of the Old Republic games were not canon anymore.
Void.
So there's an interest in reintroducing some of that stuff. I think it'll be a reboot, but it's now part of the new canon. But I mean,
I think it's definitely going to happen. It's such an easy win. I never played the original, but it's well loved. EA need all the wins they can get. Obviously, their most recent Jedi Fallen Order did well, and people liked it, even if it's a couple of issues. But generally, it's really well received. And I think so. This feels like an easy win. I can definitely see a KOTOR hat coming.
Dave, are you also chuckling at Matt being very polite about Fallen Order?
No, I just like the fact that he can't just say that it did well. You know what I mean? Just because he didn't like it.
Did it do well? I don't remember seeing...
yeah, I mean, it sold loads, but it was always going to. Lots of people did really like it. I have mixed feelings.
This is almost certainly going to happen. I can't... It just feels like such an easy win for them.
I'm just
but
curious.
Do you use BioWare to make it?
This is the thing, because... BioWare don't seem to make good games anymore.
That's the problem.
So I don't really know who I want doing this.
Get the Hound. Oh no, I got confused with Bethesda. So who's making who's making BioWare style games now that isn't BioWare? Anyone?
I mean, Obsidian. Obviously, they did. Outer Worlds.
Yep.
Which
so they have Microsoft now.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, so that's not happening.
So they ain't making it.
But so in my head I was going to say Outer Worlds, but then I thought, no, that's a Bethesda thing. So that's why I stopped myself. So
okay, sorry. I mean, it's mostly who's this? Sorry, I should have looked this up beforehand. But the studio that makes Pillars of Eternity, and the studio that made Divinity 2, all these sort of very PC focused. RPGs tend to be where that stuff has gone now, I think. But I think, I remember the the Divinity 2 guys, it was announced they were working on something else, and I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't Star Wars.
So KOTOR was a proper hardcore RPG, was it? Or is it?
I mean, yeah. It's not
or is it sort of Mass Effect-y or what?
It was Mass Effect. It was essentially Mass Effect before Mass Effect, right?
Well, no, because it was the combat was very right, you pause it, and you'd only have 3 party members at any one time, but it was you would pause it, right, you do this, giving out orders,
that sounds awful.
Unpause it, let some of that play out, and then pause it again, and yeah. It's fine. It's good.
Yeah, no, I hope they don't do
it
that.
might not have aged that well. The thing that was remarkable with Mass Effect is it was kind of that, but it was a shooter. Whereas Knights of the Old Republic was very much an RPG.
Fucking hell, Mass Effect, man. Oh,
yeah.
Just please, come on. Let's get... Just come on. I looked on, what was it? I had a John Lewis voucher for Christmas. And, nothing to spend it on, Matt. Nothing to spend it on. But I went on there and just looked at gaming stuff, and it was funny, but also sad. They had a copy of Anthem, and underneath it said £4.50, and that £4.50 had a line through it, and it said £4, and that had a line through it, and it said £3.50. And
then that had a line through it, and it just said, "Make us an offer."
Get it out of this store.
Yeah,
never knowingly undersold, mate.
So do you think if like a KOTOR game came back, do you think they would make it more like a Mass Effect? So Mass Effect with like a Star Wars skin, or
I think they would. Yeah, I think they would have to make it a bit more actiony because, as I say, those sort of BioWare style RPGs tend to be your more mouse and keyboard PC audience now. I think. Not saying it couldn't translate. I think the temptation would be to make it a bit more of an action game with RPG elements, which is fine. More, absolutely fine with an action game that still has like interesting story stuff and choices to be made and what have you. And
I mean they've got a combat system there, haven't they?
Yeah.
If they, well, no, they probably don't own the combat system from what do you call it? From Fallen Order, do they?
Fallen Order. Actually, yeah, and I suppose maybe by making it an action game, you risk. Because obviously it would be lighter on the action stuff and there probably would still be RPG stuff in it. So would you just be like, oh, well, this just feels like a rubbish Fallen Order in comparison? I don't know. Yeah, interesting. I hope it pans out, whatever it is. EA's track record with Star Wars has not been amazing.
No, but I
was good.
Be very surprised if it doesn't happen. It just feels
And
like
actually, I've played Battlefront 2 recently.
Yeah,
and
apparently that's really good now. Is that...
It is and it isn't. You're like, you can still see it's so stupidly weighted to people that play the game a lot.
Right.
Like you go into it and it's like, well, if you get like 3 or 4 kills, you get to pick a Jedi who can absolutely tear everything up.
Right.
And you're just like, oh, for fuck, well, what's the point then?
Yeah.
So there's me trying to learn the game, but you get a few kills here and there, but you will never earn enough points to get one of the heroes at the end of it. So it's a bit of a mess, but like it still looks incredible and plays pretty well. So
it's got that story mode, but did James?
I was going to say, what is a single player?
James said it was appalling.
James said it was bad.
Yeah, but come on.
Yeah, I did the first. You could point. I did the first mission, and I was floating around as a robot on a ship, thinking, "What am I doing this for?" So that was it.
Because doesn't it like they sold it on the fact that it's like you play as a baddie, and then it's like literally after 1 or 2 missions, it's like no, she's gone good now.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't get that far.
Yeah.
Did not get that far.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Is that it for the news?
That's it for the news, mate.
Right, well, it's time to get to what we've been playing. And should we start with Sean this week? Let's start with Sean.
Can do. I tell you what, talk about feast or famine. The first episode this year I had far too many games, and then I had literally none last week. So this week I've been playing Dishonored 2.
Why?
Because Kirk McKeon, editor of VG247, was going on about it on Twitter again and posting screenshots and stuff. And it's been one of those games that I know like a few people have just never shut up about it. And I've
Sam White.
And I've had it for ages and just never got round to it. And then, people talking about it again. I was like, oh, yeah, I've just realised I've got a much better PC than I used to have.
Yeah.
So, yeah, do you know what?
You never even started it.
I literally did like the tutorial and went, oh, yeah, I'll definitely play this at some point. And that was like 2 years ago.
Right, so you know the intro bit, right? Like,
It,
for me, I mean, it didn't click with me. I played through Dishonored 1. I played through the DLC for Dishonored 1.
Mm-hmm.
Just something happened where it didn't click with me, Dishonored 2. I just couldn't get into it.
Okay.
It was probably one of those situations where I was just not in the mood for it, and then that was it. But I even knowing that, right, even taking that into consideration, I genuinely think it's one of the worst openings to a game ever. Like in terms of story, it is so poorly executed that I was really, really not in a good mood when that game finally started. But because do you want to explain the intro?
So you're
a ball, aren't you, or some shit?
So you're looking at the world through Corvo's eyes. Corvo being the guy you played as in the first game, and like the first game, like the Queen gets murdered and you're her bodyguard, so well done. But then and then you're rescuing the Queen's daughter, who it turns out is also your daughter. I don't know how that's revealed in the first game. I never finished the first one. But then this is set 15 years on or something. So your daughter is now the Queen, and you just kind of walk through a corridor, and Queen sits on the throne, and then someone comes in and just fucks everything up. And
she comes in and she goes, "Oh, you're not the Queen. I'm the Queen's
I'm the
sister,
Queen now,
so
by the
I'm
way."
the Queen now."
Yeah.
And then everyone goes, "Yeah, oh, I suppose you are. Okay, let's kill it. Let's kill these people." It's just like, what?
Yeah.
Like all the guards just turn on you for literally no reason, and they might explain that later on down the line.
I think, isn't it implied that? So they were already working against you, and they knew this was happening. Like certain members of the guard were like knew this was going to happen.
But it didn't feel like that. It just felt like they just went, "Oh, really? You're a sister, are you? Okay, well, I guess you're the Queen."
Yeah.
It was just like, what the fuck? It was just
not
bizarre.
brilliant. Not brilliant, the opening. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's just like the first game did this as well, where it was like there's just systems layered on top of each other, and they can interact with each other in all these weird and wonderful ways. Like, I'm playing it quite boringly. I'm just trying to be as stealthy and non-lethal as possible, but I'm trying not to worry too much about when that goes bad, as it often does, because it is the harder way to play the game. I'm playing it on easy mode, mind you, which I'm still finding it hard enough.
It's
so
fine to play it on easy mode,
But it's just the weird and wonderful things that happen. So those walls of light that you get. For those who haven't played it, there'll be corridors that have these force fields on them, essentially, and they're attuned to the enemies but not to you, so that if you try and walk through them, you get fucking evaporated into ash or whatever, but the enemies can walk through them just fine. And I shot an enemy with a sleep dart while he was stood next to one, and as he sort of went all woozy and he stumbled into the wall of light, but because he had my sleep dart in his neck, that set the wall off and killed him.
Brilliant.
And you're just fuck. Just trying to put him to sleep, and now he's dust.
And the game, I mean, the first one was like this. The game really punishes you for deaths. It's you. What is it called? The high chaos and high.
Yeah. So there's a grid that and this sort of one end you've got sort of lethal and combative, and then in the other end you've got non-lethal and stealthy, and it's sort of, the first game really threw it at you that it was you will get the bad ending if you kill people, and it was really strict with it, wasn't it?
It was. I remember playing the first two missions, not killing everyone, and it taking me hours, right? Yeah. And then I killed one by accident in the third mission or whatever, and then the next cutscene, it was "Oh, you're going around murdering everyone. You should." And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And so then from then on, I was like, "Just fuck it. I'm chopping heads off. I don't care now."
So the second is more lenient with that stuff. You can get away with killing a few people, and as I say, it sort of shows you on this sort of this 2-axis grid, where you ended up. So you can kill a few people and still end up more or less in the stealthy, non-lethal bit. So that's cool. And it differentiates between killing enemies is not as bad as killing innocent people, for example. And it just sort of says if you can do it non-lethally, the ending is more optimistic, is the way they phrase it, rather than being good or bad endings. Yeah, fine, I guess. So I'm trying not to worry too much about that stuff. But I just, it looks incredible. I cannot believe, I know 3 years isn't a huge amount of time, but in video games, it can be. It still looks incredible. It's it's, I forget what engine it is.
Stylized,
but it's based on id Tech. So obviously, it's going to look good. But, it's just stunning. I've spent quite a bit of time, because it has this structure where there'll be quite a focused mission, and then there'll be another area where you've got objectives, but it's a bit of an open world bit. Just having a little walk around and just like really, really well realized, and like the amount of secrets tucked away in like people's apartments or sewers or whatever, and just enjoying like figuring out how to use the powers to get to the items and stuff. Really enjoyable.
It does an incredible job of setting the world by listening to, like, overhearing conversations.
Yeah.
Like the writing in that respect is really good, because you're always hearing something relevant to the lore of the game or the world around you, and or listening in like that. All of a sudden, something would sort of just perk your ears up, and you go, "Holy shit, that's that thing that I just went past," or whatever.
Yeah.
Talking about that, and it was great for that. That was why that party mission was so good in that first game, because there was so much incidental dialogue that you pick up on that was relevant and interesting.
Yeah.
That it really did feel like you were hiding away. Because the genius of that was that everyone knew that there was this assassin going about the place, and they all know what he looked like because the wanted posters were everywhere. And you were going to a masked ball, and everyone just assumed you were like being a bit sick, that you were dressing up as this
cosplay.
like. So you got to hear what people were saying about you as a character without them knowing that you were the character. It was really good, really good.
I never played another Dishonored game.
Have you not?
No.
You'd like it. They are hard, and they're a lot to take in, because they're, like I say, very sort of like, you know, to look at it, you're like, oh, it's a first person action game, but they're very systems heavy. You get all these weird abilities, which, like I say, sort of interact with the world in all sort of weird ways. Like you have like a possession ability, for example, where you can like leap into other people's bodies and control them for a bit. But like that will work on like fish or rats. Or so like, you can possess a fish and find a route into a building through the sewers and then appear out of, in a toilet, or like you can like jump off a really tall building and then just before you land possess someone, and then you just harmlessly pass into their body and then out again, and you survive the fall. Just weird things like that. And like, apparently you can, like, if you cut a guy's head off, you can like attach a mine to the head, and then you can pick up the head and throw it, and it's a grenade. Just stuff like that.
That sounds good.
The example given when we went to see it at EGX, like the talk at EGX, was if there's someone comes at you with a gun, you could freeze time for a moment, possess them, walk them in front of the bullet, and then unfreeze time, and the bullet goes straight into their own head. It's like that's when James shouted "boring," if you remember correctly.
He's trying to order the dominoes on his watch.
He was.
So I properly enjoyed it. I'm really glad I've gone back to it, even though, like I said, I can't believe that it's like several years old. Like, really doesn't feel it at all.
Hang on. You said 3 years. How old is it?
2016 it came out.
Okay, well, so 3 years. Yeah, because because I always thought this was really, I never played it, so in my head it's much older than 3 years, but. Yeah, that's actually relatively recent, isn't it?
Obviously was, but the more I hear about the game, the more I just thought I'm thinking, maybe I was just not in the mood for that game. You've got to be in the mood for it to play.
Definitely, yeah.
Especially for someone that doesn't like stealth.
Yeah, it asks a lot of you to begin with. I mean, if you don't like stealth, you can play it as an action game and just go around slashing everyone up, and you can
to some extent, but it gets a bit much if you're fully going for combat. It is ridiculously difficult because it chucks so many enemies at you. Yeah, for sure.
Fair dues. Enjoying that. Played the first chapter of Vader Immortal on the Oculus Quest, which I think you have all played.
It's the game that I show to people.
Yeah. I can see why.
It does.
It's really good, isn't it?
It's not so much the fact that it's really good, and I mean it is good, but it's not like my favourite VR experience. But what I will say is that the hand tracking stuff is the first thing that blows people's mind. The second thing is how good it looks. It's like easily the best looking VR game that I've played on the Quest. And it's relatable. People like Star Wars, so it was kind of like they like the fact that you're standing in front of Darth Vader and shit.
It's one of those where I kind of don't really want to talk about anything that happens, because all the joy of it is just all these funny little interactions. Stuff that's in the trailer is like, you climb a ladder, and how is that interesting? Don't know, but it is. it feels
And
really
it feels
weird, doesn't
weird.
it? Like, it just feels really good, really tactile. And yeah, like loads of other stuff that I won't spoil. And it's quite a cool little insight into Darth Vader. There's some nice bits of character development in there. Which obviously, it's Darth Vader. Everyone basically knows what the deal is, but there's a nice bit of insight into him, I think.
Yeah. I mean, one of the insights is that you can't do the simplest puzzle on the face of the fucking planet. But other than that, you must try and open this box that no one can open. You just like press a button underneath it and it opens. You're like, oh, well done.
Well, isn't that it only works because of your special bloodline or whatever? I don't know.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah, it's a bit of nonsense, but I properly enjoyed it. And like Matt, you were saying, it's like you fucking stand in front of Darth Vader and he's terrifying.
Yeah, genuinely, when he walks down his corridor, like fucking hell, that's Darth Vader. And like, it's really intimidating, and he's a big old chap.
I was more scared of that dude in the prison though, that sort of just like looks at you and he's got a weird face. I was a bit
the Imperial officer guy.
No, the dude in the prison that you have to release.
The one in the cell.
The one that's got a weird face because he's an alien, Dave. Is that what you...
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Ooh.
Jesus. What?
But you can't.
You're not
you
like,
can't
what?
But
Sorry, that's what I'm saying.
All right, okay.
It's just, those weird little VR moments where you realise like your subconscious has bought into it way too much. There's a bit where your ship gets boarded by some Imperial lads and they blow the door off the back of the ship and they all march in. I, without thinking, raised my hands. Fucking
I'd love to like get a live feed of just you, like not see what you're watching, but just see. And I really don't want to spoil this bit, so I'll word this carefully.
Yeah.
But when you first get to use the sword-style weapon,
Okay.
Very cryptic, mate. Don't know what that could.
That could be anything.
It's not really a sword, but it's a bit like a sword.
It's like a sword, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit
Similar
like
to
a sword.
Yeah.
First time I get you to use that, fucking hell, you feel good. Don't
Yeah,
you?
it's great. Yeah,
really good.
And since I played this, there's actually two other episodes out now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get them. I think.
Good,
because they're not expensive. They're like it's £8 each or something.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
The first one's £8. I don't know if it's the same for the others, but I'm sure it will be.
But what's good about that bit is that it doesn't say like it's a tutorial, right, where you fight something, and it doesn't necessarily go here, hold and do this to block. You know, like when you were playing Connect for the first time and it was like to block, cross your arms like this. It doesn't really do that, does it? It was kind of like
just gives
block.
you the tool and makes you deal with the situation.
Okay, yeah. Surely if I just do that, it blocks it. Yes, that works, and I'll swipe now. It's just completely natural. It doesn't have to take you out of the experience to do a little tutorial thing. It just works.
Yeah.
It's great.
Good. I mean, I've got two more, but one we've all played, so I'll do that last.
Okay.
Before that, so I've been playing Hades, which is the new one from Supergiant Games of Bastion and Transistor fame. Yeah.
Okay. Two well-respected games, man.
Yeah, well, this is it. It is another one of their games. You already know that it looks and sounds great.
Is it an isometric RPG that with a narrator over the top?
Certainly is. There's not.
Is it really?
There's not a narrator as such. It's so basically the story is your Hades' son. No, wait, I forget. In Greek mythology, is Hades the place or the guy? I can't remember. God of the underworld is your dad, and you're trying to escape for reasons that have not been made clear to me yet. Basically, it plays most like Bastion in that it's an action game. You've got a melee weapon, you've got like a magic spell that's like your ranged weapon, you've got a special attack, and you can dodge. But what's cool is the gods of Olympus are helping you, right? They're trying to help you get out. So you get new abilities from them, but you get like as you go through the game, there'll be like these orbs, and each one represents like a different god of Olympus. And each of those has like a suite of abilities that they can offer you. And it's a fascinating system because so every time you try and escape the place, the corridors seem to shift and change, and it's a roguelite. Brilliant. So every time you attempt it, everything's different, but every time you clear a room, there'll be different exits, and it'll tell you like what you're gonna get. right, for clearing a certain room. So it might be money or health, or sometimes you'll get an icon that represents one of these gods. So you've got the usual roguelike thing. If you're getting new abilities and you're picking, like, you know, every time you get a new ability, you can choose from like 3 different ones, and you get that satisfaction of being like, well, hang on a minute, I've already got these 2 abilities. If I get this one, it'll work really well, and it'll, you know, synergize with the abilities I've already got. So you've got that element, but it's also the fact that you start to know that all these different gods, like, you start to know what abilities they're going to offer you. So you can sort of, like most roguelikes, you basically having to randomly, like, these abilities are randomly being presented to you, and you're kind of just having to, you know, muddle your way through it. I'm like, well, these abilities kind of work with what I've already got. Whereas this system of the abilities being tied to certain gods actually lets you play for certain builds a bit more than you usually can with these games.
Do you think that is like an improvement over the systems that we're used to?
Yeah,
like, because
totally.
it kind of makes me, you know, part of the fun in playing roguelikes is like you get that loot and you're like, fucking hell, I got that, and it feels like it's taken that away a little bit. Maybe
I know what you mean. It makes it a bit predictable, but then there's enough of the gods that, you know, it's not, doesn't feel like a limited pool, and you're not necessarily going to get the ones you want, right? So like, okay. it might, you know, it'll offer up. So there might be like 2 exits to every floor that you clear, and it's not necessarily going to produce the ones that you want and the abilities that you want. So no, I think it works. It's just like a slightly predictable element to it, and the fact that, like, you know, I've said this about roguelikes before. I much prefer the ones where, like, every run you take stuff back with you that gives you a bit of a leg up in future runs, and it totally does that. Like, you know, you get items and stuff which you can then spend to improve your character. You can unlock new weapons that you can start the game with. So just, you know, I've not had a single run where it's felt like a waste of time. Like, it all contributes somehow, and like, it's got this really interesting system of whenever you die, you go back to, you know, your home, and there's like friendly characters everywhere. It's like this really weird thing that, like, your dad, who doesn't want you to escape, thinks you're an idiot for even trying. So he knows you're doing it. It's not like a secret. And he's just like, yeah, knock yourself out, mate. It's not going to work. Like, so every time you die, you come back to him, you're like, hey, Dad, I'm back. And it's, yeah, that's really cool. And there's, so all these characters you talk to, and you know, you get items that you can give to them and they unlock new stuff, and by talking to some of them a certain number of times, it unlocks new, like, lore entries and stuff like that. So it really builds on this idea that it's like, yeah, you're going to keep coming back here over and over again, but that's fine, because there's going to be more stuff to do in your home base, rather than just like, oh, well, I guess I'll just have to fucking try again. I don't know, it just seems like a much more complete loop than a lot of roguelikes in that sense.
Is there much of a story?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
I think there is. I've not got into it much. There's sort of, you know, because there's people that are, like, people in the underworld that are helping you, and there's sort of these weird comments about, like, look, we know why you have to get out of here. Like, you shouldn't be here. And it's not really been explained why. Like, which is one thing that has always annoyed me a bit about Supergiant's games, in that it's like the main character knows more than I do, and he's just not saying it. Do you know what I mean? Like, Transistor was really bad for that, in that it was like, you had no idea what this world was or what was happening. And it wasn't like the main character had amnesia or anything. She just wasn't saying aloud what anything meant or anything, you know. Or
yeah, it's a bit of a disconnect, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you want to feel like the character, but
exactly,
you're not. Yeah.
So that's weird, but I'm uncovering, like, I'm enjoying uncovering, like, bits of extra dialogue and bits of lore and stuff as it goes. So fine. Like, the combat itself is really enjoyable, really frantic. Again, you know, you have this cool thing of, like, putting together certain builds or spotting abilities. Like, you know, you get a new weapon, and then you know, find a god as you're playing through the game, and it's like, oh shit, that ability will work really well with this weapon. And then just, like, you know, putting together really excellent builds, like just dashing around constantly, slashing the fuck out of everything, or being like a ranged character. There's like a bow and arrow you can use as well, and, like, say, you have like these magic abilities and stuff. Really satisfying. I was really enjoying it. Apparently, it's still in early access technically, but
is it still Epic Games Store exclusive?
It's not. It's on Steam as well now.
Oh, okay, right.
Because I got this in the Steam Christmas sale. it's definitely one of those. I mean, I know we got bored of ourselves saying it, but it's been a while, so I'm going to do it. It'd be great on the Switch, just because it suits quite short sessions. Like it's not going to be one that I'm like, I'm going to turn the PC on and spend a good 3 hours on Hades. Like it's good for really short.
And you
runs.
reckon the Switch could run it well enough?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose.
The games have never been graphically intensive, have they?
Yeah, but like the artwork is like really beautiful. It would be kind of a shame to squash that onto a 720p handheld screen, I guess. But yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't work.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, they always look good, but they've always been like overly stylized. And I mean, the Switch could easily run the other two games. So. Yeah,
true. And like I suppose it's naive to sort of assume they all run on the same engine or whatever. But yeah, they've ported other games to the Switch, so they're obviously interested. So yeah, hopefully that's coming, because that'd be great. But yeah, I mean, it was like £9 in the Steam Christmas sale. Yeah, well worth it.
Nice.
Decent.
And the last game, which I'll let one of you lead on, is Journey to the Savage Planet.
Well, I'd like to lead on it, but
Go on.
a little bit upset with Matt.
Uh-oh.
Well, you can still lead on it.
Well, I don't know. How much have you played, Sean?
I'm in a couple of hours.
Yeah, so
same as us.
we were hoping for double that, but I mean, so it got to Saturday. We played it Friday night, and then we said at the end of like our game session, we said, I really want to play more of this. Should we play tomorrow night? We were like, yeah, well up for it. So I text Matt at like 9 o'clock saying, you still up for it tonight? No reply. So I thought, okay, fine. Logged on at 10 o'clock. No Matt. I was like, right, okay, well, I'll play a couple of Rocket Leagues or whatever. Mm-hmm. Still nothing. So I just went, Matt, are you ghosting me? Still nothing. Then, what was it, about midnight? You text me back?
Midnight-ish, yeah.
Right, okay. Let me just try and guess his excuse, because it's the worst excuse he's ever come out with. And not because of the excuse itself, but because of who was saying it. Try and guess Matt's excuse for not turning up.
I've no idea.
I fell asleep.
Oh, wow.
Like, no one's going to believe that, Matt. No one's going to believe that.
Well, just talk to Jill. I'm always falling asleep at home.
What? No, you never sleep. It's like the one thing you
don't
do.
To be fair, that does add
on
up,
the
Dave.
couch.
Like, if he doesn't sleep at night when he's supposed to, he's probably going to start conking out during the day, so...
Yeah, but this was in the evening. This is like between 9 and midnight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but if I lie down, then... I
That's how it works. That's how your life works. If I'm angled less than 45 degrees, then bomb.
Yeah, Jill gets really annoyed at me because I can sleep wherever I sit within like 30 seconds, and then she kicks off. No, I mean
that's chronic fatigue, Matt. That's
yeah, but no, because I've been trying. Like this year, I'm like, okay, I'm going to focus on my sleep, and I think it'll be better for me overall. And I've been like, really focusing on trying to get to bed at like 10, half 10 when Jill goes to sleep. And so often I'm just like in bed for like an hour, like still awake. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but I was
gutted anyway. And the main reason I was gutted is because I was loving what we were playing on Friday night. I mean, first question for you, Sean.
Yeah.
Before we go into what this game actually is, because I think it's slipping under the radar a little bit, but were you playing it in co-op or single player?
Single player, yeah.
I think that might have, an effect on, as it always does with games like this, and people try and play it solo or whatever. But we'll find out. So, Journey to the Savage Planet is a sort of... Right, the best way to describe it, I had no idea what this game was going in. There was a trailer saying something about crafting and playing with a friend and stuff, and I was like, okay, maybe it's like a survival game or whatever. And with the heavy influence on co-op, I assume that it would be like an open-ended thing. Maybe you land on a new planet every time, and then you've got to survive for as long as you can. But it's not that at all. It feels like, from the 2 hours we played, a very straightforward campaign where it's more of a Metroidvania style game where you land on a planet, you've got nothing, no weapons, no nothing. You have to go out, scavenge resources and put it into a 3D printer on your spaceship and print off things, but it looks like you print them off in order. Well, it's certainly initially anyway, where it's like, okay, first you have to make a gun. So you go out, you have a little look around this planet, you find things, you go back to your spaceship, you get enough resources to build a gun. And then every time you go in and build something new, it allows you to explore a new area of this planet that you've not had access to before. So there's a grapple hook, and you suddenly realise that there's certain things you can grapple onto. Once you've got that grapple hook, it gives you access to those areas. A double jump is the first sort of major stepping stone in getting into new places. But it's laced with this humour and this art style that sort of... I mean, you said it while we were playing, but it really reminds me of Banjo-Kazooie, like nuts and bolts.
It's
got
insane,
that sort of
doesn't
overly
it?
cute...
Like, it's...
I gotta say, it is fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, it reminds me of Nuts and Bolts, because I remember seeing Nuts and Bolts and thinking, I mean, this is cartoony, and we're in an age where everything was trying to look deadly realistic. This is one of the most, like, it's one of the best looking games I've ever seen. Like, when I was talking about when Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts come out.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of that, where it's like, this is overly simplified a lot of stuff, you know, all of the vegetation around the planet and stuff is all very basic, really, when you look at it as, you know, if you were to go up close to it. And
there's not a huge amount of detail, but there's an art direction
it opens
to
up
it.
and you see the fucking full tower that you're supposed to climb and everything around it, you just think, whoa, shit. And what done me was that there was this huge platforming section that Matt did, and I wasn't able to do it. And we knew it was the wrong way to go at the time. But Matt got to the top and he was like, oh my fucking God, you've got to see this. It looks incredible. And we decided to move on before I got to the top there. I know we'll go back to that area, Matt. But
it was that point I'm like, this is a weird thing to say because it's not a type of game, but I'm sort of getting Banjo-Kazooie vibes. Did you do the platforming section that we're referring to, Sean?
The bit where something's like, there's the things blowing you off these leaves that you're jumping on.
Okay, no, I got
I got to the top of this, like this. It's nowhere near the top of that tower, but I got to the top of this platforming section, and the fact that you can see, you know, this massive expanse in front of you, but it isn't realistic. It's not a realistic like location we're looking at or environment, but it just looked fantastic. It looks sort of cartoony, but like weird sort of Banjo-Kazooie vibes. Not quite sure why, but
In terms of gameplay,
it's really impressive to look at.
What you're mainly doing is, there's a little bit of combat here and there. There's a little bit of puzzle solving here and there. But I think the main thrust of the game, or what I was enjoying so much, was the exploration, because it really does feel like you're plonked into the middle of nowhere and there's so many directions you can go, you just don't know which way to go. So you start testing things out. It's also an experimental game where, like, for example, you come across a gated off area. It's like vines, spiny vines in your path. But next to it is like this big fan with eyes. And you're kind of like, right, how do we get past that then? And then you slowly work out. When we found out a solution to that, Matt, I think we both just pissed ourselves laughing because it's just, it was brilliant. And you know, there's lots of moments like that where you have to sort of work out. We're playing in co-op, obviously, so we would try to work out, can we get past this bit yet, or do we need an item? I think it's quite good you've got like an AI that's talking to you non-stop throughout. I can see that getting a bit irritating. It wasn't in the 2 hours we spent on it, but there was the AI was
in those 2 hours.
it
was annoying and it was funny. It made me laugh. It made us laugh a bunch of times actually.
I was going to say, not to digress, I'm really surprised how funny this game is.
Yeah, because it has that feeling like where you watch it and it's like when you see the kooky adverts that's played in your ships and that opening intro and stuff, you're kind of like, oh my God, this is going to irritate the fuck out of me. It just doesn't, does it? It plays it just right. It just hits that right sort of...
I'm always a fan. I'm always a fan of like games where they have like live action, like in-universe videos. Like Control did it really well. This does... Yeah, more the same where you can go in your ship and you watch a video of this actual actor who's like the person you're liaising with back at base camp or wherever. And I do always appreciate them. You know, it's a thing. It's sometimes that they can go into being embarrassing or cringy, but I think actually, genuinely on the whole, I really liked them, and I liked them in this one as well.
The fucking Wally. The advert for Meat Buddy, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, Meat Buddy, yeah. Have you seen the one where you can like grow humans and in like their own little like shopping mall and stuff?
Yeah,
that's also quite good.
So the story is that you're an explorer and you've been sent to a distant planet to see if it's right for human life, right? But then you slowly realise that the company that sent you there, A, don't know what the fuck they're doing, and B, have properly set you up to fail, haven't they?
Yeah.
Like they've given you nothing to work with, and the guy's just kind of like, yeah, you're probably going to die. There's no way of getting back.
Yeah, it's based on the assumption that I like the first couple of videos say lots of people were sent out, and we don't expect you to encounter any sort of intelligent life or anything at all. And then after you like scan things, I mean, there's lots of scanning in this game, exactly like No Man's Sky. It's very No Man's Sky in that regard. You scan everything, and then that gets added to your sort of encyclopedia of knowledge. And then when you go back into ship, that I guess gets sent back to HQ. And then it's very clear suddenly that, hang on, no, there is stuff on your planet, and actually we want to investigate further and see what the hell's happening over there.
Yeah, and I think what it did for us, and this is where I'm interested to see what your experience was like, Sean. Mm-hmm. What it did for us is that we sat down, we had a laugh and a bit of a chat, but mainly we were just bouncing ideas off of each other and just going, what does this do? How do we get past this? What do we have to do next? Because it does just enough to explain what you should be doing, but leaves enough so that you're questioning things that you're doing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You're seeing different paths and going, have you been down here? Come down here. Look, what's this do? Oh, I don't know. What happens if you do this? Oh, that works. So, yeah.
I love the fact that you're not tethered to each other. Like at one point, we're like at different locations. I'm over here at this particular mission marker. You over there, or I died.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I said, you should go back over there because there's like a thing over there we can do. And like, although it's a co-op game, we didn't have to be on the same screen. Or
that
next
is
to each
very
other.
Weird when you're playing Halo at the same time, and Halo does that thing where, like, if you're too far away from someone, it's like, we'll just warp you right there. We won't ask you or anything like that, but just warp you right next to your teammate like that. That is fucking jarring. But yeah, and here we were completely different parts of the map, weren't we? And which was interesting because everything you do, from leveling up to because you do level items. Up, like to scanning items, everything. If Matt did it affected me as well. And that was great because it was like we had 2 missions to do, and essentially we both went off and did the missions separately for a bit, and everything Matt was finding was coming up on my screen as well. So
okay.
It's good that I like that stuff because
if you leveled up, I leveled up, and I think I had loads. I was collecting resource for a certain mission or certain thing to get in to print in back in the ship. I got those resources, went back, printed it, and suddenly it's in your inventory as well, which is really cool.
That's the other thing as well, and another thing that could affect if you're playing this solo or with a cart partner. If one of you dies, you can revive them. But if you've got like 20 seconds to revive them, so it's there is a benefit to staying near your partner. But more importantly, if you die twice, I think it's got that Dark Souls thing where if you die and you get back to where you died, you can pick up your resources. But if you die and you don't get back there, then you've lost those resources.
Okay.
So to bank your resources, you teleport back to your spaceship because there's teleports everywhere and you use them. But it just felt so fresh and such an interesting experience. For we've played games where exploration's been like the main thrust of gameplay, and they're great. We love games like that. I think we all have an appreciation for that style of game, but doing it in a co-op setting like that just gives it that new edge that I'm sure games have done before, but because we're both playing this at the same time and discovering it at the same time, it's been a really interesting experience to sort of just bounce ideas off each other and talk about things that we've seen. And, you get that moment where you see something cool and you're like, come here. And then you wait for them to turn up and stuff. It's I like it.
The locations are so varied. Obviously, you just don't know, at least so far we're only on one planet. But on one planet, you can be like a snow section 1 minute, like lava
caves
and
down
fire
in the
the
caves
next,
and shit.
And that was
the
like you're in a
lava
forest
level.
area.
Yeah.
It's
so
fascinating
it's really vibrant,
because
and around every corner could be something different, which is really cool.
Yeah, like it's fascinating because if we pretend that space exploration games exist on a spectrum from No Man's Sky to Outer Wilds, right? In the No Man's Sky, lots of weird and wonderful shit, but it's random and often quite like, you know, it does get a bit samey at times, and then Outer Wilds on the other end is like super authored and like, you know, and there's all these like precise mechanisms all sort of ticking away behind the scenes. This sort of feels like a halfway point between the two, in that it is authored, it is all hand built, but it's got that sense of like, I've got no fucking idea what I'm going to see next. Like it feels
totally,
quite random in a good way. In that it's,
well, that's it. When I first loaded it up, I just assumed it was like a roguelike.
Yeah.
Every time you go in, it's like everything's randomly generated.
Yeah, when you first land and you come out of the
like
ship, and it just looks so odd that it straight away you're like, oh, this is this. Yeah, it's just like algorithmically generated. Is this?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's really interesting. I do now, like, I was enjoying it. I do now feel like I'm missing out playing it on my own.
I think you might be.
Yeah. But,
like, honestly, because it's just such a good game to knock ideas about on and like discover that stuff with someone else there.
Yeah.
I mean, we say that about most games, right? Like most games are better in co-op.
Yeah, of course.
That's like just a standard thing. But I'm interested to hear what how the sense of because I suppose the sense of discovery from us felt so non-linear because we were both all over the place.
Yeah,
but did you have that feeling of I'm discovering stuff, or did it feel a little bit more like a linear experience for you?
I suppose in a way, yeah, it does. It has felt quite linear because although obviously, yeah, there are multiple paths to take at various points. Like I'm only ever taking one path, and it feels like and it's felt like. Yeah, I've just sort of taken what to me felt like the natural route through, and so yeah, I can see what you mean. Like it would feel very different to have someone else wandering off in a different direction and being like, "Oh fuck, look at this! I've just found this."
But it's also fun, even when like we're both trying to get up that platformer section. I'm saying like you're like, well, where do I go now? We're like jump there, jump this, do this, and go in that corner of the rock to jump over. So even that was a big help.
Yeah,
I played it actually
hurt my ego that bit. Hurt my ego that bit.
You just need to get better at your jumping.
Matt Murray.
I played a little bit actually today because I wanted to see what it looked like.
Whoa, what?
No, because I wanted to test, and sadly, you know, it is what we suspected, Dave. Whereby,
right,
because it's co-op, I went to play, and obviously I had to start again. But
you were playing on my game, right?
Yeah,
no, it's one of those.
Which is, I guess, it's understandable. It's just every game does it. It's just sort of annoying. But I guess I can. There's probably lots of complicated reasons why that is the case. So I played a bit of the campaign, and yeah, it definitely was lacking a certain something. I've seen some reviews today because the embargo dropped today, Monday, as we're recording this, and I mean, reviews are a bit all over the place. Like, some have said, "Oh, it's fine," it sort of, you know, loses its way, or the combat's not great. Others said, "Actually, you know, it's just a fun little sandbox." But one of them I read said, like, "Oh, the co-op's tacked on." It's like, well,
yeah.
Oh, no way.
I don't know.
No
I mean,
way.
like,
It feels really essential.
But arguably, you could say, well, actually, single player is not very good compared to co-op. Like, I mean, I don't know. It seemed like it was just another good mode. And if you've got co-op opportunities, do it. If not, then single player still could be interesting. So, I'm not sure about that. But also, like, reading the reviews guide, this game is only like 25 quid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
25 quid made by a small team, and I think like that feel like makes it feel like even more impressive, really.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. Especially down to the looks. I mean, they've nailed that sort of weird look, but still looks beautiful thing.
Yeah,
like
totally.
it really worked. Like Gone Home was a little bit like that, where it would look terrible, and then once you were way up in the sky, looking down at all the shit that you made, you were kind of like, oh right, that's actually pretty beautiful. Yeah, it gives it's that sort of feeling, really, but on a bigger scale, I think.
Did you say Gone Home? Or Grow Home?
Oh, not Gone Home.
Yeah, he did. You think Grow Home?
I don't remember that bit. But
I was like, well, did it have an art style that's...
Do you remember when you were up in the basement and you were looking down and saw the shit that you read? Yeah, no, I mean Going Home or whatever. Growing Home.
Yeah.
Growing House.
Grow Home.
Grow Home.
Grow Home.
Or the sequel, Grow Up, which is also very good.
Yep. But no, I you know, it's a shame that we've only got a couple of hours into this so far, but I really am looking forward to playing it. And I was saying to the lads that were asking me about it, like, they were going, "Oh, should we all get it?" And I was like, "Well, no, because it's not going to be like our big multiplayer game.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're all waiting for at the moment, our next big multiplayer game that we hammer every night." But I said, if you could get a partner and just play through it, I mean, based on what I've played so far, I think you'll have a very good time.
Yeah.
I read Joe's review as well, and obviously he's got a better opinion than I have because he's played through it all and everything. And he said it really leans on the combat later. I don't really mind that. I mean, I don't like what. That's not the right way of saying it. Like, I'm not too worried about that because I think the combat is arcade. Like, you can tell that the first person shooting in this game wasn't the first thing they worked on.
Yeah.
You know, like it wasn't. It feels way arcadey. But at the same time, it kind of benefits from that because, you know, everything locks on really easily. It doesn't feel like I'm struggling to aim.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be like that than, say, Uncharted 1, where you felt that the shooting wasn't the major part of that game, yet the shooting in that game felt too sim-like, if you know what I mean. There wasn't enough lock-on. It didn't have that sort of pop and shoot.
Yeah, but I can't see how that would be annoying because right now I'm just enjoying the fact that there's loads of wildlife across the planet that we've seen so far, and not all of it is. It tries to attack you. So I quite like the fact that I don't have to be shooting everything. There's a couple of enemies we've seen that you do have to shoot them before they kill you, but I don't want then, and I'm also really enjoying the loop of like seeing something new, scanning it, getting resources, building things, doing a little puzzle. I don't then want it to go into like a shooter with woolly shooter mechanics, and I'm losing sort of the mystery and the adventure that I'm enjoying up to now. So hopefully it's not that bad, but I'm definitely have to play more. It's really good experience.
I did have a really funny moment before we played it in co-op, I just wanted to make sure that there was no tutorial that I had to get through before we started our co-op session, Matt. So I logged in, I did the first few bits on my own, and I had a moment where, you know, you see those little chicken things.
Yeah.
You know, just like popping about, all like they're the cutest looking things ever. I went up to one and it was like, you must scan them or whatever. And I was like, okay, well, I'll scan them. And I was like, oh, fuck, I've forgotten what button I pressed to scan. And I accidentally press X. And you slap it and it just explodes in green pus. Like, I burst into laughter. Like, I thought it was so funny. But yeah, this game's full of moments.
Yeah, I'm a very big fan of the farting animals.
Yeah, my favourite ones are the two little chicken things. They're like stuck together, like they come together. Right? Have you seen these?
I don't think I have. No.
There's these two little bird things, but they're stuck together. If you hit them, they split into two, change colour, but then start screaming and running around at high speed.
Yeah, they're great.
So they start screaming, they run off, and then you'll be like, oh, right, okay, that's weird. But then all of a sudden you'll hear as they run past you again. And the first time that happened, man, I had tears in my eyes. I was laughing so much. I was going, Matt, you got to come in. Matt, you got to come in.
But little do you know, I could still hear them because they were screaming across the planet.
Yeah, I've got high hopes for that game. If it keeps it up, I don't know how long it is, but if it keeps it up, then I think this could be really, really good fun.
Yeah,
but
I get the impression it's not a massively long game, but I'm up for that.
That's
as well.
fine by me. Yeah. But you should find yourself a co-op partner.
Yeah, I'll try to. It's a shame because it's PC and Xbox One, isn't it? But it's not a Windows Store game.
Oh, right, okay,
so
you can't play with people
no
on Xbox.
crossplay, unfortunately.
Shame.
I have to find another PC nerd.
Well, it's out the day this podcast comes out, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's on the very first, yeah.
Yeah. So, check it out. Journey to the Savage Planet.
Yeah.
I was massively impressed with it. I'm really looking forward to going back to it, actually, Matt. It's good.
It is.
Right.
Oh, no, sorry. It's out on the 28th, so actually I think it's out Tuesday.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So it's out yesterday. Yesterday, Matt.
Yesterday,
Old news, mate.
Good. Right, okay. Matt, have you got anything else on your list that we haven't spoken
I
about?
finished Stories Untold. James and I spoke about it last week. At that point, I had just finished the second of 4 chapters. And I really enjoyed it in the end. It was I really like the different ways they tell the story. Last week
Does it put it all together?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm obviously not going to say anything about that, but I was really satisfied with the way the 4 chapters are tied together. Because they all seem very disparate. Like even like different gameplay styles, different stories. Like, how's this going to work? But the way to do it, I was really impressed. Chapter 3, it's like the puzzles are much more complicated, I found, than the other 3 chapters. I had to look up a guide for this one particular bit. Same bit James did, actually. I'm sure I could have cracked it, but also I didn't want to spend the rest of my life trying to work it out. But I really appreciate the way it's told the story using like lots of different gameplay styles. I love the overall vibe of this 80s sort of weird mystery, and I was really impressed in the end. I'll definitely recommend it to people. I was really impressed, and I'm definitely glad I played it, even with the couple of frustrating puzzle bits. I thought it was excellent in the end. Yeah, big fan. That story's Untold, although I think, as we said last week, that's actually been out since like 2017 on the PC, so it's not a new one, but
because the same team have done another game since, haven't they? They did.
Have they?
Wow, what was it called? It sounds right up your street, Matt. It's one where you play as the AI on a space station that's fucked.
Oh, okay. I should look out for that.
Yeah, sounds really good.
Okay, that sounds good, because they were definitely. Okay. I'm not going to say much more, but I can see how they were going to that sort of story stuff. So okay, I'm well up for that. And also Sekiro, I'm now at the point where I can do the final boss if I want to.
Right, okay, cool.
But
you've got nothing else that you could possibly say about this game, but I do want to hear about the stream last week, because it's called last night, because it caused quite a stir, I think. I don't know what happened, but people were saying some weird shit happened last night. So what was that all about?
I don't know if anyone did. It's just
Ben was.
Well, there's just like some. It's just a bit of a mad stream with like lots of different things happening. We had a hype train. Are you guys familiar with this new Twitch thing that they've incorporated?
No, what's this?
If you get it's live for every channel now. But if you get like a bunch of follows or subs or bits within a short space of time, you suddenly hit like this hype train mode, and then there's like 3 different levels of this, and then basically it's kind of crappy in a way. It's Twitch trying to get like more people to like
spend money,
money, subs and stuff. So, and then there's like a percentage meter. So for whatever reason, we must have hit the first level, and it said now you've got 5 minutes to keep doing this stuff, and you basically get exclusive emotes, and in the end, everyone got a crazy emote to use, but it was.
That sounds awful, doesn't it?
I mean,
it really does sound awful.
If you're like a massive streamer and like people constantly subbing and sending you bits, then I can see why it'd be cool as the community.
Yeah, because the streamer gets lots of money out of it. It's...
But everyone involved, everyone watching gets like this exclusive emote. I can see why that's cool. We were like, oh wow, we're on the hype train, guys! Woo! No, okay. Yeah. No, it's just a fun stream as ever, It was mostly like a massive Animal Crossing style quest where I had to go here, get some rice, eat that, go somewhere else, did all sorts of stuff. Eventually did kill a boss towards the end, and now I'm ready for the final one. But I've also got a lot of things to clear up in the meantime.
Cool. All right.
Nice.
Is that it?
That's it for me.
Just a couple of quick ones for me, really. Other than the game that we've spoken about, I play. Right, Knowledge is Power. Has anyone played that on the PS4?
No.
Sounds familiar. Which one's this? Is this one of the? This is the quiz one, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone wanted Buzz.
Yeah.
Everyone likes Buzz.
Yeah.
This is Buzz.
Yeah.
I mean, it is literally Buzz, but better because you get to use your phone and. That makes things a little bit more interesting.
Is it one of those what was that initiative where
Link Play or whatever?
Yeah, okay, it's one of them. Cool.
Yeah. So you download the app, and I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. It's Buzz, general knowledge questions, but you also get power ups every round as well. And what you do is like there's things like zips, so it's multiple choice, 4 answers, and you could choose like zip and then give it to another player. And then that means that when their answers come up, they've got to like unzip a little zip over the answers before they can press the right one, which obviously slows them down. And the quicker you do it, the more points you get. So all of them are based around, there's ones where little bombs show up on your screen over the answers. And if you hit that, it blows your screen up for a couple of seconds. So like you've got to be careful where in the answer you're hitting and stuff. And it's just like, fuck, why is this not massive? Buzz was massive, right? I mean, you went round anyone's house when that game had come out. Everyone had those fucking controllers, or was it just?
Do you know? I never had a Buzz experience. I was always wanted to check it out, but never happened.
Oh man, it was brilliant. We used to get out at Christmas all the time. It's the same thing. I'm surprised this isn't like. Maybe it's just me and my bubble, but I'd never really heard of it before.
So I played it around with my brother. It's really good.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Which one did you play?
Whatever the first one was, I think.
Right. So I think we played the second one, Decades.
Right.
Where you pick different decades. There's also like it's all based around voting as well. So every category comes in, you pick which category you want, and then your characters run towards it. And if you'll run the most people behind the door. The other thing is it's sort of the way it swings towards helping people that are lagging behind is really good as well. Because we were playing with a couple of teenagers as well, and they were.
They don't know
a little bit frustrated that they didn't know some of the answers. But there was one moment where it was like you could choose between 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. Yeah. And we all chose 90s, and they chose 2010. So there was more people going towards the 90s door. But it just said no, these two, they're in last place and they want to do this one, so let's do this one. And I just thought, that was a really cool way of just rubber banding it a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're sitting there going, whatever happened to Buzz? I really want to die. It'd be great over Christmas or, whatever. I know Christmas is a while away now, but it'd be great, one weekend just to play Buzz. Fuck, man, I love that game.
How many players?
Just get knowledge is power. Fuck knows. We played 5 players, I think.
Okay.
I think it might be up to 8. I think you
have
can
to
do
download
8.
an app, or is it all done through the browser?
No, you do it. Download an app, which is good, really, because the Jackpot Party Pack is great, but you have got to use the browser, and that brings problems.
There's only
the first being that you have to
it.
log in and then put the password in, which is a bit frustrating. But most importantly, most phones, if you leave your browser open for too long, it just locks the phone off, right?
Yeah.
And that's a bit shit. Whereas where you've got a dedicated app, it knows to keep that alive no matter what you're doing. Makes a surprisingly big difference, especially if you've got a phone that will just log you out of the server the moment it locks.
Yeah, at no point where you hear oh no, it's hang on, it's closed, shit.
There's none of that.
Yeah.
There's none of that. And it feels more stable as well, which is weird. But
So is it something that can only be played locally, or is there an online element?
Probably locally.
Yeah.
I think you've probably got to be on the same Wi-Fi network.
Yeah.
So
I've never heard of it, but that
sense.
sounds that could be
It's
fun.
really
That's
good.
what I'm saying. That's what I don't get. It's like Buzz was brilliant, right? There's a better version of Buzz. It's just they've called it something different and no one's heard about it.
I can't believe they haven't gone full, done
Full
more of that.
house.
Because what was that game show Michael Fox kept playing on was that on Xbox on 360?
100 to 1.
100 to 1, that was brilliant fun to watch.
That was so good.
I
was
never
good.
played it, but it was brilliant fun to watch. Surely that sort of stuff would make a killing, wouldn't it? It's good fun. There could be multiple different games or channels, everyone playing live. It's probably a lot to moderate or control, but it was great fun to.
I'd be fascinated to
have
hear
that.
why Microsoft presumably decided that was a failure, because I thought it was great.
I've got a feeling it was because they were giving away quite decent prizes and not really getting much in return of ad
I
revenue.
think you're probably right. Yeah.
Or sales out of it, because it was free to play as well. wasn't it?
That's
Weird.
proper good.
Which they had to
that
do
was so
to get
long
the
ago.
players in,
There must be a version now in 2020 where there must be something they could do ad wise and get some revenue in.
They
and
tried
everyone
it, but
talking about it.
There was that mobile phone app, wasn't there, in America that
Quiz,
did really well.
Quiz HQ or whatever.
But then that failed after a while because, again, the prizes that they were putting out there were, they weren't getting the money back.
I enjoyed that for a bit though, but that sort of stuff. I love it if that made a bit of a resurgence.
Yeah, no, it would be an interesting thing to see. But yeah, no, if you miss Buzz, then get Knowledge is Power because it's just as good, if not better.
Yeah.
You also get to take a picture of yourself and use it on the characters, so that's good fun. And the final game I've been playing, I finished Reach.
Oh, awesome. What do you think overall?
The ending is shocking. I mean, the second to last level is a bit weak. It's still great because Reach is great, but the last level I'd forgotten it was the.
Are you on that platform?
No,
It's just you're on the
in a
planet,
big
aren't you? As
open-
Master Chief takes off.
That's right.
And you just have to survive for as long as you can.
Oh, right,
Obviously, there's no point.
yeah, God.
Yeah.
So we just went, well, let's not do it then, because we just move on. We just died, and then there was a cutscene, and that was the end of it. And I was kind of like, that is a shit way to end a game, isn't it?
I don't know. If you really give a shit about the story and everything, I suppose you could be like, oh, I'm keeping Master Chief safe because he's going to go on and save it. Yeah.
I guess.
But I know what you mean.
I think I've just worked out what's happened, because I remember Chet was saying that's how our ODST ends. So we said, oh, it's not letting us do the last bit of ODST. That's weird. and we thought it was weird that there was this last level, but we didn't do it. That he must have been thinking of Reach.
Yeah.
He must have been thinking of the end of Reach. So I went into this thinking, why have they done this 2 games in a row? But actually, really, that was just the end of Reach. I mean, it probably meant a lot if you were really into the game, into the story, and you weren't just blitzing through it to get through them. But it was a little bit like, it's a bit underwhelming.
How do you think it ranks compared to the others you played up to now?
Halo Reach is the best one we've played so far,
mate.
by far.
Yeah, mate.
By far,
it's so good.
I mean, the jumping quality is unreal. And we've started Halo 4. We've done a few levels of Halo 4. That seems fun. I just don't know if it can maintain. I mean, the opening level's pretty good, but there's levels in Reach that are way better. So hopefully it gets. I remember really liking 4. So I'm hopeful, but I don't know. It's got to do a lot to feel better than Reach. What's really interesting going through this series of games like this is noting the sort of first-person shooter trends that have suddenly been put back in like that. Like suddenly it's way more emotional. Halo 4, even over Reach, has a lot of storytelling within the level itself. So you go back to like Halo 1, 2 and 3, it's like all the stories in the cutscene and then you're fighting. That's it. Like there's no sort of real story stuff while you're moving about. Whereas Halo 4, you're like, fuck here now. This is, there's bits where it slows you down to hear Master Chief and Cortana talk. Master Chief talks non-stop throughout this as well, and he didn't in the previous game. So it's like, it's just funny seeing how the series has evolved. And Halo 4 was the first one that put run on the left stick as well, where they finally cave. That's pretty good. But I'm still enjoying that. We'll get Halo 4 done in a couple of weeks, I think.
Then on to Guardians.
I get Guardians for the first time.
That'll be interesting.
You know what I'm excited about?
Yeah.
Okay, it might be a bad game, whatever. I'm just really looking forward to seeing how it looks.
Yeah, because Halo 4 was still 360, wasn't it?
Halo 4 is stunning visually.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
360
the art's
is
always
stunning.
been great in those games.
With
like 4K and stuff, I mean, Guardians never looked like a bad
looked
game.
incredible as well. Reach looks incredible. So I'm hoping that, if nothing else, Microsoft made a good-looking game for their next-gen console. But we'll see. That's it. That is it for this week. Should we get onto emails?
Yeah. If you want to email us, do it at podcast@thecomputergameshow.com. Steve Duke
That's the one.
has done that. Says, hello, lads. As a 50-year-old bloke, my reflexes are pretty much shot, so I'm hopeless at shooters and other fast-paced games. I've also just been diagnosed as autistic, which explains why I've never been comfortable engaging with groups of people, whether that's in person, in forums, or within online games. Because of that, I've always enjoyed story-driven one-player games, campaign modes, and RPGs. They're a great form of escapism, which I can engage with on my own to shut off the outside world for a while. I'm concerned that with the exponential rise of games as a service is threatening to wipe out the games I enjoy. With that in mind, do you think there is a future for one-player games? Thanks and keep up the great work. I mean, first up, fair play, like getting that diagnosis at 50, man. That's got to be a big deal. Like,
that's going to be massive,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to I don't know enough about that stuff to make a real comment on feelings and how that affects you and stuff. But surely, if anything, that's got to be a relief that you've got that diagnosis, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that wrong to say?
I guess so. And especially like at that age, like you would think a lot of people would just be like, well, this is just how I am now, so what's the point? I think a lot of people wouldn't even try and get that help. So,
and I will say, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry if that was terribly insensitive. Like, that wasn't the intention. But I just know if you were struggling with something and then you finally find out what it is, even if like you knew what it was inside yourself, but then I don't know, maybe we shouldn't be talking about this. Maybe it is insensitive. But
I hope for his sake that it has been
well.
validating and
exactly. That's the point we're getting to. I hope you're doing well. Yeah. And, but yeah, no, I mean, I really can't see that dropping off. I really can't see it dropping off. You look at the games that are due out this year, for example, you've got the likes of Cyberpunk and Last of Us and, hopefully that new Zelda game soon. There's still very much a place for it. Whether they'll be as frequent as they have been in the past, I don't know, but I guarantee that there's still a massive market for single-player games like that.
It's funny, isn't it? Because you think about recent years, we've got like games like Spider-Man and Red Dead Redemption 2. Obviously, that has an online component, but it's often the big single-player games that get like it's a massive week one sales. Everyone's excited for this new single-player experience, but I can obviously see why that isn't something that's going to bring in revenue on a constant basis, like a games as a service game.
It's funny, isn't it? It's like there's a lot of prestige around the very sort of story-based stuff, but probably not as much money in the long term. So it's weird.
No, but if the game hits, it hits, man. There's
an initial bang,
there's still money to be made.
The first week or weekend or month. I mean, like actually, Red Dead Redemption 2. I think even because they went on Steam in December, it was like I guess it was Epic. Where was it before? Epic Game Store? Or
no, it wasn't anywhere. I think it just came out on PC towards the end of last year.
It sold 1 million copies on PC in December. It's like. Which is it's bonkers. But like people still love their single player games, and obviously there's an EA comment from a few years ago, and it was like actually there's loads of great single player games. So I don't see them going away, but I can see them being complemented with multiplayer modes or online modes here and there. I don't want them to go, and I don't think they will go. I think enough people love them.
And like obviously a lot of the games we just mentioned were action games, but then like look at how celebrated like Disco Elysium was last year. Like a game that literally has no combat whatsoever.
Outer Wilds,
yeah. So definitely room for that stuff. Still,
we always talk about, and we've just literally talked about, games of service revenue, constant revenue. But then, it's much harder to find a surefire hit than it is.
Yeah.
Then it's much more common to see games which have tried and been scrapped or they've bombed. I mean, just look at it, like the vast majority of the games of service games over the last few years, they probably haven't done as well as they had hoped. Whereas other games like Fortnite and stuff, like stay the course and do well. So that's not always the easiest way. And I bet we're going to see a bit of a turn away from that actually in the coming years, because people realise you can't just put games of service out and hope that works.
I bet in terms of it being a financial bomb is worse with trying to set up a games of a service game like that.
Yeah, look at Anthem, right? Anthem games of service, and now they have to spend, they've probably spent a year, or I don't know when it came out, but they've probably spent 12 months on it. They probably might spend another 12 months of a full team working on this thing to get it to a place where it might start properly generating revenue. So and a games of service game, it's got to bang. If not, it'll be way more expensive than a single player game, I bet.
And of course, if a game as a service tanks, it disappears. Like at least with a single player game, if it doesn't sell, it still fucking exists. Whereas like this week, there's a game called Duelist, which I've really enjoyed in the past. It's a sort of turn-based sort of card game, but with a card game stroke board game. I know a lot of people who really enjoy it. And they announced this week that they're pulling the plug because player numbers just aren't where they need to be. And that's it. That game will cease to exist. Unless fan servers become a thing or whatever. But there is no, the game is permanently online, so you turn the servers off, that's it. No one can play that game anymore. And
they're a much bigger risk, because games of service, it's good ones have come out, but unless you and your 3, 4, 5 mates will say, okay, should we all play this game? If that doesn't happen, it's hard to okay, well, I haven't got a group, I'm not sure I'm going to bother. Whereas a good single player game, anyone could play that whenever, because they know it's just geared towards that. Marvel's Avengers has been delayed. That's got games of service elements, apparently.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a bit. I still don't know how that stuff works. Apparently, the demo we played at EGX, we played at EGX and we were like, oh man, it's actually pretty, it's a straightforward action game. That's cool. Apparently, that's not really representative of most of the game.
That's what you want to demo then, isn't it? An expo. We're all very hopeful that that's the case, but we're also pretty confident that I don't think those games are going anywhere. They might be less frequent as everyone tries to extend the period of life for their games. That's always been a major goal for the gaming industry and a major hurdle that people have tried to get over. But I think the market is still there for single player games, definitely.
Yeah, I would say on the balance, I think it's easier to make a hit single player game than a hit games as a service game.
I would probably agree with you. Yeah.
So hopefully the developers and stuff, publishers think the same, and we get much more.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, I personally speaking, like I really struggle just to set up co-op sessions with mates these days. Never mind, so things like Destiny are a real struggle now. I mean, I can more or less get by playing that on my own, and like obviously, the TCGS clan has been amazing. Like when I've had time to do raids and stuff. But broadly speaking, like, yeah, it's like that or single player stuff for me these days for the most part. Yeah.
Okay.
Lee Griggs says, you will get RSI tomorrow and cannot play video games for the foreseeable future. How do you spend your free time?
I mean, I'm assuming he's saying that we can still do stuff. We just can't play games.
Just not the computer games, yeah.
I wish I could play football again. I haven't played football for about 2 years. Mm-hmm. But then I'm probably at the age now where that's going to be a struggle. Do you know what I mean? Football's really hard work. Okay, films. I would like to watch a lot more films.
Yeah.
That's my biggest problem. I love film and watching films. And the fact that I don't get to... because, by the time we've got home, eat and put the kids to bed... we want to put a film on, but then Joe's like, I'm just too tired. I'm going to fall asleep by the end of it. Yeah. And then when she goes to bed, I'm not like, I've never been like, okay, I will sit and watch a film I want to watch now. I'm always like, well, I might as well play video games because I've got this brief amount of time, so I will watch a video game.
There's nothing worse than wife's gone to bed, so you're like, oh, fuck it, I'm going to watch a film, and you do it, and then the next morning you're like, oh, I watched this, it's really good. But then sort of failing to explain how good it was and sort of being held back by but she might, if it's really that good, I should try and watch it with her at some point. And just end up having a rubbish.
About it.
Yeah,
we don't do situations like that where I'll watch a film and then she'll watch it. Because if we're both sitting down to watch a film on a rare occasion, we want to watch that neither of us have seen.
Yeah.
So but getting into film again would be the way I'd go, I think. Matt?
I just watched war documentaries.
Really? You're into
crime,
that now?
Or crime. I love a bit of World War II. Or true crime documentaries.
Is it as good as Border Patrol? I bet it isn't.
What it is? What World War II?
No, war documentaries. I'm sure they're interesting and everything, but is it as good as someone trying to smuggle some cocaine in a statue into Australia?
I don't think anything will ever beat that. Or someone constantly trying to sneak food across countries. You can't do it. Why are you bringing all these spices across?
The little old lady tried to run off when she got fined for bringing mushrooms in. It's
I always love that stuff. Mushrooms and plants, isn't it? No, I just love a true crime documentary. But the truth is, what I do in my spare time, I'll start films, fall asleep on the couch, and then that's it. That'll be my life.
I have to apologise to Dave when I wake up.
Yeah,
Sean?
Probably not going to work with the old RSI, but I was telling Matt when we had a little break earlier that
jerking it.
Isaac really, Isaac recently got a yo-yo. Not that you can do anything with it; he's only 2. But I've basically just stolen it, and I'm just having a really good time just messing around with the yo-yo. And I quite want to get an actually nice yo-yo now. It's been good.
Henry's Viper, Sean. Seriously, I mean, we spoke about this before, but on one of my Sekiro streams recently, I don't know how it came up, but yo-yoing came up, and I told him about the fact that I used to go to when I was younger, on a summer holiday or any sort of school holiday, my dad obviously used to work loads in London, so he would basically drive me and my sister and mum to Kingston or Guildford or whatever, and we were there at 9 o'clock in the morning, shopping and doing all the usual stuff. But me and my sister would go off and walk around shops on our own, and I would hang out at Route 1, this skate shop in Kingston.
Nice.
And I got into yo-yo in there. And
Route 1, was that the one where you walk down the steps? And then
it's on the road running the Bental Centre, although I think that's gone now.
Yeah, I think I think I've been in there a lot, where you walk down, there's like some steps in the middle of the shop, you walk downstairs, and then there's like skate videos on TVs everywhere.
Yeah, it was a skateboard and sort of skater culture shop. But I got into yo-yo now, but it's like what Henry's Viper at the time. It's like an 80 or 90 quid yo-yo. Oh, yo-yo was brilliant.
Amazing.
Wait, so you were saying, what was the trick that you said that you could do?
I could split the atom, which is
rest.
No, I haven't got a good yo-yo anymore. Like Elodie somehow comes into brings home yo-yo somehow, like from like a kid's party or whatever. And I'm like, oh, let's see. I'll show what your dad can do.
Oh, your old man used to be good at this. Hang on a minute, what was it?
It's a shit yo-yo.
Oh, mate, can you do what was it? Eye of a needle. Can you do that?
I don't know. Eye of the needle. I don't know what that means.
What was the
split the atom?
The atom.
Split the atom. Can you do the split the atom? Come on, you can practice between now and then.
I'll have to get Henry's Viper. Although again, on the stream research, on the stream research, they're only like 20 quid these days.
Get one then,
mate.
I'm not doing that.
You've got to do that at Rest. You've got to split the fucking atom at Rest.
I'll look into it.
Come on, right. If you want Matt to split the atom at Rest...
let's not... I mean, I will actually go through this on, like, everyone else who's, like, pulled out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tweet.
No, you don't. Oh, hang on. Henry's
split the atom at Rest.
It'd be a bit of a, like... I can imagine, like, people looking through the glass. It's like... Everyone going, like, split the atom,
if you're coming to Rest, we'll do it near the end of the show. And if Matt does it, we want you to go ballistic, like he's just scored a goal at Wembley. Like, we'd love you to just go mental so that people walking past would go, what is all that noise? Look over and see Matt splitting the fucking atom like that. Oh, God.
Oh, my God. So they're 30 quid on Amazon.
Are they the ones that light up? Do you remember those ones?
Fuck that good. Shit. This is pro stuff.
No, they used to get Kellogg's did a thing, didn't they? They had the Sonic the Hedgehog ones about fucking
Kellogg's, Sean. These are Henry's Vipers. Like the kid I used to yo-yo with, he was on Live and Kicking. Right?
These are Henry's Vipers.
We didn't fuck about, Sean.
The highest accolade
at the time.
Henry Vipers, the ones where you throw them down really hard and they just spin around with on their own.
Well, no, but
do you remember
all of them
do
that.
They had little ball bearings in them.
All of them do that. Yeah.
Well, because some are like the string goes into. I don't know the terms, but so there's like a different
like a gear or
knot
or
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it on this. Again, I tried on everyone, and he brings home, can't do it. Yeah. And then it comes straight back up the string and like wrecks my fingers. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. It's a stupid game.
I remember everyone used to walk the dog.
Yeah.
Back when they were big, when we were kids. Oh, could you do walk the dog? Yeah, everyone could do walk the dog.
Yeah,
go on.
If I'm not allowed yo-yo, because probably RSI is probably still not going to work. Photography, please. Would like to do more of that, but just don't really get the opportunity.
How boring. Right.
Yeah. Well, that's me, mate. How long have we known each other, Dave? Come on.
Good point.
Lee Griggs also says, would you consider recording videos of yourselves for the YouTube version of the podcast? I mean, no, just because...
I'd feel uncomfortable being on show for that long. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, for me, it's mostly the fact that, there will be very tiny but significant edit points. Usually, just because one of our kids is kicking off or whatever, and it's one thing. When we do the talks over stuff for patrons, that's you press record, you do it, then you stop, and then that's it. You just there's no need to edit it. But once you get into editing video, you're adding an evening's worth of fucking around.
Yeah, God, yeah. I mean, tonight we've had to stop because Charlie was crying.
Yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't have known that because Matt's doing a good job over there.
Seamless.
Also,
known it.
In the summer, it's so hot in this room that I literally just start boiling naked.
I don't want to know
I'm not doing that. Not again.
I've told you before, I do not want to know that, Matt.
But
keep that to yourself.
Actually, I will say, the new PC I've got right now, I've got a lot of fans in it, and it's actually quite chilly in this room. So I'm hoping in the summer it's going to properly level out the temperature in this room.
Like having an aircon
these fans
unit.
are packing. They're working their ass off.
Good point. Yeah, the fans that are expelling hot air from your computer will make your room cooler.
No, because honestly, it's really cold in this room because of the fans.
Okay,
Matt, that's literally impossible.
Is it? But
Yeah.
why is it
It's
cold
not-
if I
it's not
bring
how
proper
physics
hands
work.
near it?
venting heat out from the PC. The PC is always
Yeah,
going to be a
but
heat
why
source.
is it cold? Why is it cold air coming from the PC?
I'm
then,
assuming
Sean?
because you've got your heating on, so the air
relatively,
in your
yeah.
room is hotter than the hot air in your computer.
Well, we'll see in the summer, won't we? We'll see
certainly
what
will.
the science says.
The other reason not to
We'll
do...
see what the sign says. Okay,
We'll see what the science says, David.
Oh,
It's
it's the
science.
science. I think it's science.
I don't know what the signs are.
The other reason not to do video is that everyone would see me just fucking around with the yo-yo really badly while I'm doing this. I just
Yeah,
even
amen
paying
to that,
fucking
brother.
attention. Look at him.
I can't wait for people to watch Matt fuck around with a YOLO really badly
Stop spitting
on a
at him.
stage.
Incredible.
Oh, we got to pick a song as well for you to do it to.
We need some lasers actually as well.
Like I would love,
Lights
like
off,
I always my
lasers.
go-to one is the popcorn song, but maybe that's too obvious.
No, I sort of want the equivalent of like pen behind the ear, but for yo-yo.
Yeah, good shout, good shout. There's another one for the YouTube video playlist. Luke Summerhaze. Right, okay, go on.
Right, Capone Adam. Full Nels says, a couple of weeks ago, Dave spurted out his intention to get a vasectomy. Well, you're in luck, because I had one a couple of months ago, so please allow me to share some advice. It hurts.
Why am I in luck?
Yeah, I don't know. It says it hurts. However, just remember the benefits that come from having the operation, the main one being that you'll get to lay on a couch and play video games for 2 days straight without any form of shame or regret. I don't think that works if you actually have kids.
No, there's a lot of things to do in the meantime.
But yeah.
Yeah.
He says, try to schedule the operation for when a particular game comes out. I picked November of last year because Death Stranding and Shenmue 3. Unfortunately, I finished Death Stranding before the operation, so my vasectomy recovery game became Shenmue 3. I deeply came to regret this. For a few days after the operation, I had a general dull ache down below. It's a bit like having a little ghost that keeps tapping your balls with a spoon. Now, the reason Shenmue 3 was a bad vasectomy recovery game was down to the long loading times and enduring long unskippable cutscenes with wooden acting where I would just zone out and start focusing on the aches below. So pick wisely, Dave. It may be tempting to make The Last of Us 2 or Cyberpunk your vasectomy game, but instead I would actually recommend scheduling the operation for the end of March because I truly believe that Doom Eternal will be the perfect vasectomy game as it will involve constant sensory overload and fast-paced action that will distract you from ball ache. I hope I have helped helped in some small way, and that scheduling a vasectomy in time for Doom Eternal is a possibility. Failing that, there might be older games that are suitable for vasectomy recovery too, such as games like Celeste. I know you may be tempted to just play Rocket League, but the last thing you need is to be watching a big ball constantly getting knocked around. Good luck, and if you need any more advice, feel free to PM me.
I mean, Sean is absolutely right. There is no way that I will be sitting down playing a video game for 2 days.
Yeah.
That is literally not possible.
Yep.
Secondly, the only way I'll survive is by moving out for a couple of days because children consistently knee you in the bollocks.
Yes, great.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's unbelievable. Harry, like, if we're laying down watching something on the telly, he will push himself up, like, to get off of the sofa by just, like, putting his elbow onto my balls and just putting all his weight on it. Like, he doesn't mean to do it. He's just not thinking.
Yeah.
It's just,
Oh no, Isaac very specific. Like if I'm like lying on the sofa, he will stand up next to me like on the sofa and then just fucking knee drop onto me, and usually landing on my genital. He thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah, I've been on the couch and Eddie's just like run and jumped and like landed on my lap.
Yeah. I
There's
get
a
that
knee.
all the time.
I feel sick.
I get it all the time. They run up, they jump full pelt to land on you to give you a cuddle, and they don't care where their knees land.
Yeah.
You know, it's just straight in the balls.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It happens like, I would say 3 times a week. I get something smashed into my testicles. It's, yeah.
Right.
Not nice.
Toby Henry, I don't think there's really a question here, but it's just a nice one to read out. This evening, chaps, listening to David's bit in the last show about gaming with his dad reminded me of a special gaming memory. My dad was never into video games, but he did start me off when, at the age of 10, he got me my first computer, an Atari 65X. I don't think he's made that up. I've never heard of that. Which at the time was a very poor cousin to the mainstream trio of C64, Amstrads and Spectrums. There weren't a lot of big games, but there was a port of Football Manager, which piqued his interest immediately. That evening, we sat down and started playing the completely text-based version of the original game. This led to regular Friday night gaming sessions where he would sit in my room, chain-smoking and drinking Coke. I just had the Coke. Whilst we talked tactics, bought and sold players, ploughed our way through the leagues, and much to my mum's astonishment, he got crazily into the whole thing. He was quite a miserable man, which is where her bemusement came from. I still remember the night about 3 months later when our sessions culminated in us doing the League and European Cup double, with me dancing around the room and him looking supremely pleased with himself and sparking up a fag in celebration. Sadly, with that victory, his gaming desires faded, and despite me picking up the sequel and years later trying to get him into Championship Manager on my first ever PC, which he also got me, there was never to be a recreation of those magical gaming sessions. He died of cancer 8 years after, and it remains one of my happiest memories, both of gaming and of my old man. It taught me that the fondest memories of our hobby are so often about the connections we make with other people, and I hope that one day my kids might look back and have some similar memories of their own, minus the passive smoking. Keep up the amazing work, chaps. Wednesdays continue to be my favourite podcast day of the week. Carry on smashing it. Yeah.
Fucking wicked.
Yeah.
Love stories like that.
Yeah, totally.
Love it. And it's always a shame, like, when you think, but if you just got into this one, we can, have similar memories to that. But, sometimes it doesn't work out. And it's just good to appreciate the moments that were there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, love shit like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. That's it for emails.
Right, let's go on to tweets. It's at Computer Game Pod on Twitter. There was a bunch of tweets actually asking for Farley's feedback on Picard, but Sean, have you seen it?
I haven't yet, no. I really need to get on that.
I haven't got Amazon
Getting good
Prime.
reviews,
But yeah, I've heard good things. I'm excited. Farley has
That's right.
told me that it is good. So there you go.
But I bet a lot of thoughts. Legitimately Average at Legitimately A on Twitter. If you were to play one game over and over again every day until you had the speed run world record for it, what would you waste your time at getting good at?
Oh, that's a good question.
Right, so Rocket League doesn't count because we're talking speedrunning here and not
Yeah.
actually just getting good at a game, because that would be my obvious
Yeah, because
choice.
when I saw this screen, I was like, okay, Sega Rally, but again, that's not a speed run. I guess technically, no. I mean, not even getting like good lap times. I give them
No, it doesn't count. No, let's focus on speedruns because that gives it an interesting edge.
I think for me,
I mean,
go on, sorry.
No, go on.
I was going to say probably Cybernator on the SNES, because I know it has a very active speedrunning community anyway, and I played the shit out of it as a kid, so I've got quite a lot of knowledge of it anyway. So I feel like that's a pretty good one to start with, because when there's already a community around it, like, all right, it means you're competing against a lot more people, but it means there's already like tons of advice, going spare. So I think that would be a cool one to get into.
For me, it's got to be something that I can gloat about to as many people as possible, right? So it's got to be something that everyone knows. And the only one that I can come up with is like the original Super Mario game. Do you know what I mean? Like, to turn around to someone and say, did you know that no one can complete this game as fast as I can? I mean, assuming we're taking like how we think, like, look, I could spend the rest of my life playing Super Mario. I wouldn't be the best speedrunner ever. But if we're saying that's out, like, ignore that.
That is potentially, that could happen.
Then it would be something like a really, really well-known game like that.
Yeah.
So I could just go, Mario game, no one's faster than me. I've got the world record in completing it. Because if you say that about Dark Souls, the majority of people will go, "What's Dark Souls?" You know what I mean? What's this game with dragons? About get out.
I always find I've only attempted it a couple of times, but explaining speedrunning to normal people is quite fascinating.
It's weird because you'd think that the entertainment is watching someone try and beat the world record, but it's not, is it?
No.
It's just learning about how badly you can break a game.
It's the friends we made along the way.
I can't remember who it is, so I won't. I think whatever. Who cares? I think it might have been Eurogamer, but I'm not 100% sure. Did a feature, might be an IGN, but a feature of the developers. Yeah, it might be. Other video game websites are available. It could be GameSpy. Could be Spawn. They did a video that I really hope they do more of, where they got the developers of Control to sit down and watch someone speed run Control.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, "Oh my god!" So what he's doing here is he's doing this, and he's worked out. And they were blown away by how much of like the hidden stuff you can see just for him glitching through the game. And then they were talking about it and how, like, without an explanation of what he's doing, they could work out what he's doing because they know how the game's built. It's really interesting.
Oh, that
videos
sounds
to
great.
watch,
I want to watch that. I'm going to stick
yeah,
that
it is
out.
good. It is very good. And I only watched like the first like 10 minutes of it because just in case like it showed something
Spoilers,
that
yeah.
spoiler, yeah. But I hope they do that for other games. That's really good.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. I mean, for me, I haven't even the thought of this thing I'm about to say like sort of freaks me out. But when people have like there's no hit runs of of Dark Souls, I mean, is that technically a speed run? I don't know.
I think that is a speedrun category. Yeah.
When people play
I think we go with that.
any of the Dark Souls games or indeed all of the Dark Souls games and like not hit once, like that stuff actually sort of freaks me out a bit. Like, how that's possible. So yeah, I'll just dedicate myself to doing that. That'll be pretty.
Can I ask you something about those, Sean? Right, so the famous speedrun game, like mode or whatever you want to call it in category in Dark Souls is the one bro thing, right?
Yeah.
Where you're not allowed to level up. You complete the game without leveling up.
Yeah.
Is that kind of bullshit? Because
In what way?
swear I've seen a couple of them and they're like, yeah, I haven't leveled up. And then you fast forward a bit and they're one-shotting bosses because although they're technically not leveling up, they are somehow...
They're basically... there are other ways of getting relatively powerful but without leveling up. It's still, it's not easy because it basically railroads you into using, one particular build and, you have to, go certain routes and get certain items and do certain things. But, yeah, there are basically ways to make sure you're still pretty good.
Right, okay. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Right,
Luke
cool.
Summerhays at Friend of Bears Buscalilli on Twitter, or R Buscalilli.
Right, can I just say, because I'm not 100% sure, but I think I mentioned on the show once that Luke Summerhays was the name that I kept singing.
And you were trying to work out the song.
Ages ago, I couldn't remember the song, and he tweeted me and said, do you remember the song now? And I was like, no, I generally don't. But now I do remember it, but I don't remember all of the lyrics.
It doesn't matter. What's the song? Quick.
It used to be Luke Summerhays, but then I can't remember what I said after that. I know it was something it wasn't anything rude. I just can't remember what I fucking song.
But what was the song you were singing? Was it a famous song that you were putting his name into?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, no, I didn't.
Did you not just hear me sing it?
I didn't click what it was either, I'll be honest.
Luke Summerhays. Was it? I'm like a bird, I always fly.
Okay. No,
yeah,
I
that song.
didn't catch that.
Yeah, sorry.
Cool.
With Luke Summer. Was my singing that bad?
Well, I thought you were doing last week, Caroline.
You didn't finish the line.
Well, then, I did Luke Summerhays or something.
Yeah, but that's okay.
I can't. Yeah, but I don't know what I sang for that bit.
Okay,
it
at least
wasn't I
you know
Will
the
Always
song.
Fly Away. God.
I mean, he did fly away. He lives in Japan now.
Okay,
there you go.
Well, good fun.
Well, everyone listening, right? The melody is "I'm Like a Bird" by what was that?
The Nelly Furtado.
Nelly Furtado.
Was it Nelly Furtado? I might have just got that wrong.
Nelly Furtado. No, it was her. Luke Summerhays is the main lyric. Write your own lyrics and send it back to us, and Dave will sing.
Yeah. Finish that song for me. Luke Summerhays. And then
still sounds like Sweet Caroline.
What do I know? Hang on. So facts I know about Luke Summerhays. So yeah, lives in Japan. He's the world champion at Excite Truck because he did it at a Midnight Resistance live show. He looks a bit like a Victorian strongman. That's what you got to work with.
Well, there's a lot of
finish that song.
Yeah.
Finish that song. Answers on a postcard. We'll read them next week. Go on.
Speaking of Luke Summerhays, mostly a Sean question, but why do you feel Dragon's Dogma never quite caught fire the same way Dark Souls or even Monster Hunter did? Also, I'm close to the final boss. Should I bother with the DLC Island? I seem to remember you slagging off on Midnight Resistance back in the day. How many Midnight Resistance mentions in this podcast? It's ridiculous.
It's over. It's shit.
Who are you paying, Sean?
Mate, I'm still paying £10 a month to keep that alive, and I really want to stop. Because it's costing me money. But occasionally someone will, like Dave, you linked to it the other week, and I was like, it does sort of need to stay up, doesn't it?
There must be some free alternatives.
I linked to it because it was a bit
that you did.
2,000-word article of me just saying Sonic should be a dog. It was ridiculous. Go on. £10 a month.
Right, yeah. So in order, why didn't it catch on? I mean, it's definitely got an audience. Like when the Switch version came out, there's quite a lot of noise about it, considering. I think it's sort of slowly gathered a lot of fans over time. I mean, I suppose the short answer is, compared to Monster Hunter, Monster Hunter took a long time to get to where it is now. Like, Monster Hunter World is like the fucking 10th game in the series or whatever, and that's the one that finally hit in the West. Dark Souls, Dark Souls is special for a lot of reasons. I absolutely love Dragon's Dogma, but the whole Dark Souls thing of like discovering the lore yourself, and yes, the difficulty, really sold it to people. Whereas Dragon's Dogma, like, you can start playing Dragon's Dogma and just be like, this is just like a fucking action RPG. What's so clever? And it doesn't, like, the clever stuff doesn't really reveal itself until about halfway through, which is normally quite unforgivable for me. But it just in Dragon's Dogma's case, it's worth it. The DLC Island, I mean, have a go. I just thought it was a miserable experience. It does do cool stuff with the lore and everything, but it was just like so stupidly difficult. Like, if you have a go and you just find it really miserable and difficult, then just bin it off. Like, you're not losing out too much. But yeah, that's it.
Isn't there
Cool.
Dragon's Dogma TV show or film coming?
There's supposed to be a
Isn't it a Netflix
TV show,
thing?
yeah, Netflix, but it seems to be like barely related, as far as I can tell.
Imagine if that bangs like The Witcher one did.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, and something like Dragon's Dogma, numbers are way bigger than launch. They're up to like their 10s or 20s.
Yeah. Have you seen the excerpts from the interview with the guy who wrote the Witcher books about the TV show and stuff?
No.
Oh, that's great. There's just one that's like, how did you feel about the fact that because of the TV show, they've had to reprint like 500,000 copies of your books? And his response is like, basically like, are you expecting like a nuanced answer? Like, I had one particular feeling about it, and you can probably guess what it was.
There was loads of controversy, wasn't there? Because didn't CD Projekt Red basically, they bought all the rights of The Witcher off him, but basically there was like, from the things I've read, it's like a contract was signed, but actually the contract was weirdly written, or it wasn't. It just felt a bit weird. Anyway, that was signed off, and turns out they owned everything.
Oh, really?
And then there's loads of like legal things in the courts and stuff. But then now, since they've actually come to an agreement whereby they're going to work together again,
so he
and
gets royalties.
Yeah. But
I've
it
heard
felt like at one
stuff
point
about
it was like he got really screwed over because of strange contracts, and they owned everything basically.
Right, how strange. But yeah, and there's another bit that was like, what do you think of the TV show? And he just said like, what do you want me to say? My name's in the credits. Like, it's great. But yeah.
Oh no.
Cool.
You've seen that, haven't you, Dave? No?
But I've seen what?
The Witcher TV show.
No.
I was going to say,
I've got no
it's
interest.
not at all Dave sort of thing, is it? It's,
No.
He hates fantasy stuff.
That's good.
Who do you
Yeah, he's
think
good,
I
though.
am?
Yeah. Andy Godwin, as the banter during the podcasting get a little out of hand, if you lost it with one another, which game save from which game would you delete from the other one's account that you know would cross the line and break them?
Sekiro, Matt Murray.
Yeah, that would annoy me.
Yeah.
That would annoy me.
I was going to say for Dave, Rocket League, but then you'd just carry on, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd just
that was
start
my
again, that's
first
fine.
thought. I was like, okay, delete his stats, but again, it's like,
The stats I don't really give a shit about, but like it would bum me out that I'd have to go back to the basic cars. that would bum me out a little bit, but I suppose it'd force me to learn the Octane. But definitely Sekiro. Matt Murray is the best one for that.
Armour, you're generally a little bit less precious about it. I mean, maybe it's just me. But
I don't know. Couple of years time, deleting James's Animal Crossing.
I was going to say Animal
would be quite
Crossing,
good.
because
Yeah.
James has already lost an Animal Crossing save, hasn't he?
yeah.
good. Yeah,
Rachel's
do
deleted
that
it.
again.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I don't
Sean-
think there's anything that would hurt me.
Yeah, I think.
I'm pretty much invincible.
There's a massive one for me. I'm intrigued to see if you get it.
I've just thought of a massive one for me as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll be intrigued to see if you get it. For you, so it's got to be a game that you play Destiny.
Yeah.
Destiny 2, got yours. Try and guess mine, Sean.
I don't know, man. Don't know.
I talk about it a lot,
Is it PokeStars VR?
of course. If I had to start from the salt mines, as I think is the regular way, if I had to go back to that would kill me. Fucking hell. Going back and playing on the low stakes table again with the fucking scum.
God, yeah, if I lost my Destiny save, that would... Like, it's not like I don't play it obsessively. It's just that account represents a lot of work.
Yeah. All right, well, we've all exposed our...
there's our weaknesses, if anyone wants to...
Yeah, our weaknesses.
Speaking of Sekiro, actually, so like I played obviously Dark Souls and Bloodborne, and those I played much further after they came out. So I could play the DLC of both, but the way From Software does the DLC is generally you need to have played like 3 to 2/3 of the game, to then get to the DLC. But it's okay because by that point DLC is out. I'm going to get this done, and there'll be no DLC. But I can't, unless From Software change how they do DLC, I can't see myself going back.
It's usually has it got like custom save points?
No, it's one save file. But the other games, you basically got to. I mean, Dark Souls and Bloodborne as well. You basically had to play like 50, 60 hours to get to the DLC part, and so I don't see myself doing that.
But you say that though,
it is a stupid way of doing it.
I think with From Software games is you often find if you do just start again, actually you can make a lot of progress in a fraction of the time.
That's true.
Yeah.
Whereas the whole thing with Destiny is because the story has continued from day one, and expect like when Destiny 2 launched, it made a thing of like, here's all the shit you did in Destiny 1, and here's all all the story that you went through, and it was like this really cool little recap and stuff. And it's like, man, because Destiny 3 is probably going to do the same thing. And even though it's bullshit, right? If my character was deleted and I just carried on playing, probably doesn't really make any difference other than I know it's like, it's not the same guy though. It's not the same character that's been through everything up until now. And that would bother me because I'm a dick.
That would wind you up.
Yeah.
I remember completing Dark Souls, and it took me nearly a year. I mean, on and off, but nearly a year. And I remember booting it up again the next day, starting a new save, and getting to Analondo within a week.
Yeah.
Just thinking, what the fuck? How weird is this? Yeah.
Kurt Lewin, a management firm has urged firms to crack down on office football chat. If you had to ban chat of one topic from the games industry, what would it be? What are you sick of hearing about? For example, Souls games should have an easy mode, etc.
I would ban that robotic speech that we hear so much about partners and synergizing and all that stuff. I'd just get rid of that. Fuck me. Oh my God, the press releases where it's like, it was... Tratton was the worst, wasn't he?
But even the E3 one recently, like their statement after like Sony said they're pulling out, and they're like, activations and like, who are you talking to about this?
I know.
That's business speak, which I hate. And
I can't think of anything that trumps that, to be honest. But yeah, go on. Sorry, Matt.
Yeah, I mean that stuff is bad. But we all say it. It's like, if it's on Switch, I don't hate it, but it's like we all say it because we all want it.
Yeah,
get it on
that's
Switch.
True, but that's calmed down a lot. Actually, to be fair,
yeah,
because there's too much on Switch now.
Yeah, again, I don't hate it, but I get it. Like me or people saying, it's all like Dark Souls, whereby it's that doesn't naturally happen once you played one of those games.
But then is that our fault, or is that the fault of developers just copying Dark Souls quite a lot?
Yeah, I think that's
is it the fault of Dark Souls being such an influential game? But I feel like once you play those sorts of games, you then see so many games, or all games maybe, through that prism of Dark Souls. Like, it's kind of that in that when you die, you get your stuff again. I mean,
remember that period where we said, we just need a Citizens Kane of gaming.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember that? Like that turned into a meme, obviously, but there was a time where they legitimately kept saying it.
Yeah.
Like,
have you ever seen, I think, was it IGN? It was years ago, so I'm not having a go at anyone in particular, but there was a video where basically a guy argued that Metroid Prime was the Citizen Kane of gaming. And it's like, wow, mate, it's really good, but where's this come from? It's bizarre.
Yeah.
I mean, what always fascinated me about the Citizen Kane of gaming thing is that, so obviously, if you're lucky enough to have not come across this, because I suppose it was quite a while ago now, it was this thing of like, what's going to be like this one game that suddenly like turns everyone on to the potential of the medium, and like, oh fuck it, like, they are art after all, like as Citizen Kane apparently did. I've never seen it. But what was fascinating about that is that, like, when Citizen Kane came out, no one liked it. It was about 10 years before critically everyone caught up with it. So I prefer the idea that like actually it's going to turn out to be a game that came out 20 years ago and no one realised was good.
Battleborn.
Yeah. Game as a service, mate. It's going to get turned off. We'll never know.
Radical Heights.
We'll never.
I mean, I want to know what the Dark Souls of films are. That's what I want to know.
Exactly, mate. Turn it around.
Flip it around.
Come on, films. Keep up.
Yeah, let's sort yourselves out. Yes. Athena Allen, let's make a quick fire round. Athena Allen, I'm on a 14-hour journey next week. What do I download on the Switch to make it feel like, I don't know, 2-hour flight?
Right, so it's a flight. Yeah, that kills it. Because the answer would have been...
Oh, well, you mean lack of internet, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you had internet, obviously it'd be Tetris 99 because that makes time disappear. It makes time disappear. But that's not going to help you, is it?
My answer is Stardew Valley.
I was thinking that.
That's a
I
good
mean, I've
one,
not played it, but that's what I hear is that game. So, yeah. I mean, that...
I'm sorry, I'm just loading up my Switch and having a sneaky look. I'm trying to think of games that she won't have already played.
I mean, FIFA's always a good one, but she never come across as a football fan to me.
That's a tough recommendation for a lot of people.
Could be wrong.
Dragon's Dogma,
but not for James.
Dragon's Dogma, it's a good game. Slay the Spire. If you've not already played that, that's great. Tactical card game, roguelike shit, isn't it?
A little game called Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
Yeah, but
May have heard of
played that.
She might have done. She might not have heard of it.
I mean, Monster Hunter Generations, mate. That's a banger. That'll last you forever. It's about fucking 300 hours long.
Okay, we're going to end on this one. David Rush. How would this seemingly never-ending, mostly one-sided feud of Kane and Vince really end?
I mean, when they sort their fucking act out. How about that? You thought about that?
I think more when they just put an announcement saying, you know, well, we're done. Like, what's the point?
Look, I should. I really hate doing this, but I think it probably needs saying at this point. You know, I've always had this thing going on with Leon Cox that we really hate each other and we're always like dissing each other and shit like that. But like the truth is, and sorry, I hate doing this because it ruins it. But the truth is, Leon is actually a big fan of me. So you know, I really appreciate his support. Right, okay, should we get onto the socials, Matt? Do you want to do your socials?
So hopefully James will be streaming LA Noire on Friday. At 9 o'clock. LA Noire, the VR case files, he's back on that hopefully. And I'm back doing Sekiro on Sunday at 8:30, but I'm definitely going to squeeze one or two in the week if I can, because I'm eager to clear those bosses up before it gets into the final boss run. I was thinking, oh, hang on, maybe I'll dress up for the final Sekiro stream, but I thought I can't do that because many people said it took me 16 hours to kill the final boss. And I'm like, hey, look at me in the outfit. And like 2 hours, you know what? I'm going to. I'll see you next week for another go at this. I'm not going to keep dressing up. So, unfortunately, that's out of the question. But yeah, Sekiro definitely Sunday at 8:30. Otherwise, I'll be on in the week, no doubt. If you've got Amazon Prime, and so many of you do, you also. Was that Sweet Caroline? I heard.
Try and guess the album it's from. Try and guess the name of the album.
Like a Bird.
Whoa, Nelly.
Oh, wow.
Which should be the title of this podcast.
Well, what did you say there? Cut out. Was it Whoa, Nelly?
Whoa, Nelly.
Yeah. Whoa,
Probably
Nelly.
an Earthworm Jim reference.
Whoa, Nelly.
Unbelievable. Sorry, Matt, continue.
Anyway, if you've got Amazon Prime, you've got Twitch Prime, we massively appreciate the Twitch Prime subs if you want to come over to our channel and give us your free monthly subscription. We're also on Patreon, of course, patreon.com/TCGS. You can support us a number of different tiers. $5, you get the monthly exclusive podcast. We talk about all sorts of random shit every month. You can only get that on Patreon. $10 and above, you get get early access to our videos, our talks-overs, all sorts of stuff. What's the most recent one we did?
The Xbox 360
Yeah.
review.
Xbox 360 review, yeah.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
Really enjoyable.
Was it Slanted Stage? We will never know.
Impossible to prove.
It really is. And you can go to thecomputergameshow.com.
That no one was arguing against you, Sean, but you spent a good 30 minutes acting like there were.
you were all doubting me. You're like, no.
No, initially, like in the end, we were doubting you because you were so adamant, right? But for the first 10 minutes of you arguing, you were going, look, it's slanted. And me going, yeah, all right, Sean. Look, it's slanted. Yeah, all right,
Because
Sean,
it sounded
it's
like
fine,
you were
it's
just
fine.
humouring me. Like, yeah, all right, mate. It's just fucking is. Fucking.
Anyway, that's it on Patreon. But yeah, you can go to thecomputergameshow.com for everything else. And yeah, don't forget getting res tickets for March 28th for our live show there.
Look at that live yo-yo. Cameras.
Split the atom.
Can't wait.
Let's
I need to
go.
get ordering.
Can't wait.
Split the fucking
I
atom,
need to
boy.
get I need to get the old, I wish I had like 2 books as well of all this what I class as sick moves.
You better
on the
start
yo.
getting training, mate. You better just start training.
No, it's
Also-
muscle memory. Once I get Henry's rifle back in my hand, I'm like, good job. You know.
Right, okay. Listen, send your tweets to @MattMurray now.
You don't need
so
to, it's
just
happening.
Split the out there.
It's
Split the
already,
atom
it's
at
already
Riz.
doing it, mate. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's happening,
And-
Dave. I'm finally going.
And Tom Champion, search Tom Champion on Twitter and just set him saying, I hear we're splitting the atom at Res. Is that true?
Let's not embarrass
Get him,
TCGS. Let's just make, you
we've
know.
got to embarrass TCGS. We've got to. We'll catch you next week, hopefully with James in tow.
I'll tell you what, I'll do it if James break dances in the background.
I think we can make that happen, can't
I
we?
don't think
Good.
we can.
Okay. Cool.
I really
I
don't.
think we can, Sean.
Well, no,
really
we
do
can't
think we
because
can.
James would have probably booked a holiday.
Yes.
See you next week, everyone. Thanks for living it. Goodbye.
Goodbye.